We are live. What's going on, everybody? What is up? What is up? Lots to get into. There's a lot of news to cover. A lot of developments. You know, I've been thinking about, because I streamed a lot alone last week, and so I was kind of segueing off of the war as things were slowing down and talking about Daytona Beach and spring break and stuff, and then get like 100,000 updates. We get like 6 million updates about the war. So a lot has happened. Obviously, as you know, the Gulf countries have become a direct partner or an allied force of the United States and Israel against their onslaught in Iran. At the beginning of the conflict, they were a little bit more hands-off, kind of waging for peace. At least that's what they were voicing. Mohammed bin Zayed, Mohammed bin Salman, two big key leaders in the Middle East, being Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and then the Emirate of the UAE, or the King. And they are now fighting in this conflict. They're sending out their naval assets to the Strait of Hormuz. They are joining the United States in supplying arms, as well as housing some military assets or advanced military technological capabilities inside of their bases, one of them being Prince Sultan Air Base that was hit today and yesterday. And so we're going to get into all that. I don't want to spoil it just yet because we are going to have our good friend join us in a moment, if you know what I mean. So we'll get into it. You got to be clean for the first portion of the live on YouTube, so I always keep it very bland. I got a haircut and I shaved the beard. This is like reverse. It's messing me up, but like shaved it. Don't know how I'm feeling. I know.
Haram!
Not supposed to touch it, but it was really uneven. On this side, it was nice, right? But this side is like patchy kind of. So brought it down. Look like a child now. But that's what I got to do, man, because people see me and the first time I meet somebody, every single time I'm meeting somebody, they go, "What are you, 28?" And I'm like, "What in the world?" Like, bro, I'm literally 24. I'm like a baby, I'm just trying to hold on to my young age. People are like, "What are you, 31?" I've had somebody think I'm 31 before. And so, I'm like, let me chill out with the facial hair, because I kind of had the Osama going. The beard's getting a little long. And I liked it. Like, and my mom loves it. Every time I see my mom, I have facial hair. She's like, "Don't cut it. Please don't cut it." And I'm like, I don't know, man. You might like it, but the Huz aren't really liking it, That's a joke. So we're a little bit more lightweight on the face, I'm feeling the air. Feels weird. Because I got a fan going behind the camera, and like I'm feeling this extra draft that I never felt before. So, but yeah, we're going to get into all the developments. So, of course, the air base was hit in Saudi Arabia. We'll get into all of that. Tehran is under heavy fire. And it looks like a desalination plant, which is responsible for converting ocean water or salt water into fresh drinking water, has now been hit by an Iranian missile. So, that's really not a good thing to hear. If you're paying attention to the news, you understand how important it is for these power plants and these desalination plants to be disinvolved or not involved in this conflict in terms of targets. For Iran or for the Gulf countries, either side hitting one another is catastrophic because it guarantees a retaliatory strike, and that means that countries may go without drinking water, countries may go without energy, oil, electricity, whatever have you, and that will graduate us to the next step of a catastrophe rather than, just drone warfare, missile warfare. Now we're entering a phase where civilians and the populist population, or the civilian population rather, is going to really start to feel the effects of this war. You've already got the Strait of Hormuz. You've already got the global oil prices skyrocketing. We've now got Wall Street analysts and political officials actually inside of the White House predicting that we may hit a $200 per barrel price mark. Really bad news. And a lot of people during the fog of war exacerbate the issue. And so they kind of do this fear-mongering, war-mongering thing. And it's important that I steer clear of that, as well as Myron. And we've been doing a good job in being responsible in our reporting, in our coverage, in our commentating, in our analyzation, as well as other guys in the space. And it's now gotten to the point where, like, it's as bad as it seems it is. You know, when you hear, oh, the United States is at war with Iran, or, oh, there's a conflict, you just start thinking soldiers are on the ground. It's like trench warfare. You know, that's where people's minds go. And that's not really the case in modern day warfare, right? At least if you look elsewhere from Russia, Ukraine, because that's kind of where that conflict has gone. But in regards to the Iran-U.S. situation, it's just really air superiority, carpet bombing, whatever. That's kind of modern warfare. But now we're getting to a point, of course, with the boots on ground being imminent. Now we've got an estimated 50,000 troops present in the region. Okay. But outside of that, really, what is worrying to me, what is troubling, aside from the Strait of Hormuz and the catastrophic oil prices, and the fact that pumping gas for me is now $20 or $30 more, is the concern of these desalination plants being involved. If you don't know, these Gulf nations or the Middle East is desert. Okay, they don't have much agriculture, much crops. Animals don't really tend to do well there, like cows and others. And so they rely heavily on their desalination plants. This is what takes water from the ocean, converts it to fresh drinking water. Their energy plants, of course, these Gulf countries make most of their money, and their economy is bolstered largely by oil. If these assets become targets, not only are their governments going to topple, but the civilian population is really going to start to feel it. So, you know, desalination plants, this can mean that people will lose the ability to have access to fresh drinking water in a matter of a few months, maybe even a few weeks. It depends how aggressive the strikes become, but the first one being hit in Kuwait today, and there was a report of one being hit 2 weeks ago. I don't know how true that was. So I think this is the first one. If that's true and that happened today, you best bet your ass that Iran is next in terms of being the target for one of these desalination strikes. And the United States and Israel won't hesitate to do so. We just hit one of their universities. We've been killing civilians. About 1,500 civilians are now dead, estimated in Iran. That's a conservative estimate. Around 300 children, 240, give or take, have been killed in this conflict. Horrible news. And I get it. The reality of war encompasses innocent deaths. Voice crack. But the civilian casualty rate is remarkably high in Iran, given the fact that we are only going after military officials and the conflict is very fresh. It's new. We're only a month in. We've got 2,000 people dead. So concerning. Of course, not a surprise when you're fighting Israel, but that's already earning Israel and the United States a bunch of global condemnation. UNESCO has now come out and condemned the strikes on their university, in which Iran vowed to launch a retaliatory strike if the United States does not issue some sort of apology or condemnation for the Israeli strike on their college. And we have institutions in the Middle East, some that may be target to strikes after Monday the 30th, which is the deadline that Iran gave for us to apologize about the Israeli strike. So a lot of stuff, but I'll leave it there. There's other stuff with oil. There's other stuff with the 10-day extension in regards to what Trump had tweeted on Truth Social. And so we'll talk about that. We'll dive all into it. We'll go into detail. Please like the video. Okay. We've been on a run, man. We've been on a run. We were live 2 times this week. This is the 3rd time, I guess, being the end of the week. Technically, it's still Sunday. So show me some love. Appreciate all the love and the support, guys. It's meant the world. I'm sure Myron is on already. So we will join him. I'll just call him on Discord right now. Is he on? I have his thing pulled up here, but let me just confirm. Like the video, people. We got a good stream, tons of news to get into tonight. So it's going to be fun.
I get along with most people I meet.
All right, here it is. So he's going through chats right now. So I'll give him a call. And we'll get into the news. Before I do that, let me just read these super chats. Mo Camera Shorts, shout out to you, says, what happened to the 19-year-old Iranian wrestler? He had attacked police officers. That's what I'm hearing. It's difficult to kind of understand the full story because every single article, every single mainstream outlet or non-mainstream outlet has a different story. But the most consistent thing I'm seeing throughout the media, X, Fox, whatever else have you, is that he attacked 2 police officers. And I mean, that's just kind of like common sense. That's what I would imagine is the case. But I never really dug deep to verify it, so I can't speak too much on it. And to be quite frank, that's like the last thing that I'm concerned about. Not that your question was bad, but that's kind of been a talking point that's been weaponized against Iran to further the onslaught of this war, and so I don't give things like that attention because this war is not for us, of course. Juke5 Times says, can you talk about how one of the IDF commanders said that he's worried they're stretched too thin in this war? Appreciate y'all, all the work you put into your craft. You and Myron are the two best that I've seen in covering this war. Hey, thank you so much, my friend. That compliment means the world. Thank you for the $20. Yeah, I saw that. There have been some growing concerns from Israeli officials, IDF soldiers, IDF commanders. One, that they don't have enough troops stationed in the north to defend against Hezbollah, which could attack at any time. They haven't fully mobilized yet, just really from the air perspective they have. And then now the Houthis are getting involved. Apparently they launched a strike on Friday, going into Saturday, or there was a strike that hit Israel, and they claimed responsibility for it. Whether that's a bluff or it's not, there's no doubt that if U.S. troops mobilize, the Houthis will. They have not yet, and so that's a loose end we have not addressed, and that's something that Iran obviously has up their sleeve, or rather the IRGC. But in regards to these IDF soldiers, yeah, they're panicking. Look, the IDF is stretched out on multiple fronts. They're still annexing the West Bank. They got a heavy presence there, defending the settlers. By the way, in which a IDF soldier had admitted to a CNN reporter. The CNN reporter said, hey, why are you here? This is illegal. He said, I know, but soon it won't be illegal. And so he said, wait, so you're doing something that's illegal according to Israeli and international law? He said, yeah, who cares? So they admit it. So they're focused on that. They're still hitting Gaza, as well as the fact that now they're fighting Lebanon, and then they're going to have to mobilize in some fashion against Iran. But at the same time, Netanyahu had voiced that there may not be any ground support from the Israeli side in regards to the Marines that are already in the Persian Gulf. So lots of moving pieces there, but no doubt the IDF is stretched thin. They don't have enough personnel to fight this war that they've started, at least on the multiple fronts that they're fighting within. So that's where we are with that. If this war graduates to boots on ground, which at this point can happen any second, really, because we've got tons of troops there, then you can expect the IDF to try and move in that direction. But again, they've got enough to worry about at home. So we'll see. It's a good question. We'll see. Yeah, guys, Myron's about to jump on right now. Don't worry. I said, why would you go live at the same time? Because we're about to jump on together. Okay, let's call him. Let's call him. Let's call him. Oops, virtual camera. All right. I'm a little sick. I'm not feeling well, man. You know, I woke up this morning and my throat was a little scratchy. Pause. And so I went to the gym like a real ass nigga, because who cares? And I walk into the gym and I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't train, because I felt horrible this morning. I still kind of feel wacky. And so forgive me if my voice gives out. My throat feels really weird. Pause. But my body's like fatigued. But I don't think I'm getting sick, because, like, you know, if you ever feel in your neck for your lymph nodes, they're not swollen. They're not tender. I don't know if it's the change of weather. It's getting warm here in Connecticut. Or maybe I'm just overtrained. Or maybe it's acid reflux. I really don't know. But I haven't been feeling too hot. You know, and Sneeko was just sick. And I got a couple buddies that are sick right now. And when everybody starts to get sick, you know, when there's a wave of sickness around you, that always ends up coming back on me. So, I don't know. I'm going to stay hydrated. Had some Tums earlier, hoping that relieves my symptoms. I'm feeling wonky, man. I ain't feeling too hot. Let me text this guy and tell him I'm calling him. But yeah, that's where we are. And after that 10-day extension, I'll get into it a little bit more as we're waiting for Myron, because this kind of makes sense, and kind of leaving you guys out with a huge gap if I don't include this context. But after the 10-day extension, you got Benjamin Netanyahu immediately telling the IDF that, or really reporting to the world in his press briefing, that we're going to continue a 48-hour offensive campaign to reduce the arms production, weapons production, and oil refinement of Iran. Reason being, maybe he's fearful of a ceasefire that could come about if Trump is just bragging and bluffing. And Trump is saying on Truth Social and everything that, you know, we're not really going to get into a full-fledged war. You know, we're making peace negotiations. We're covering ground. The IRGC has been very fruitful in their conversation. They've been thoughtful. And so from their cognizance, we think that we may approach some sort of peace deal. Yo,
what's up, man? Are you you're live right now, right?
I'm live. Yep. I went live on my end already. So I'm ready to rock and roll.
You are? Okay. Give me 1 sec. Let me turn my camera on. I didn't know that we were going to do it. This is fine. I don't mind. So what I was going to do, bro, was I was going to go ahead and give them an entire, because obviously we got 1 month that we're going to reflect on this conflict. So let me turn my camera on. So, obviously me and you know what the hell's going on, but I do think it's important to educate them on how we even got here in the first place. So give me 1 second. Because I was going to start from October 7th and work our way backwards to how we got here.
October 7th and go forward.
Excuse me. Work our way forward. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Precisely.
Yeah, let's let me,
because a lot of people know this, but they don't know why we're involved in this bullshit. So let me go ahead. You could introduce yourself to the people real quick while I set up my screen. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea because we've reached a crossroads here. But what's going on, everybody? If you're not familiar with me, I'm Myron's younger brother. We've been doing this whole political commentating thing for about a month now. It's been over a month, actually. We started at the beginning of the Iran war, so perfect timing. But we've been covering developments and everything like that. I usually go live with Myron. If he's not around, I'm the substitute teacher. I was actually subbing in a lot last week, so if you missed it.
You called himself the sub teacher?
So if you missed it, come over and
we will do that for you guys. Like when I'm not live, like you guys notice when I'm not live, my brother goes live and I send you guys all to him.
Yeah.
You know, basically the same person, honestly. So
yeah, pretty much. So if Myron's ever not live, and that has been a little bit more frequent recently since he's been doing his college debates and whatever have you. So jump on over to my YouTube channel. It's Ryad's Report. That's RYADS Report. Come subscribe. I'm live 2 to 3 times a week, depending on how heavy the news is. Still in the matrix and whatnot, so I can't go every day. But me and my brother have been really consistent in this war coverage, and not to be cocky or anything, but in regards to real-time developments, like micro developments, all the intricacies in between, we've been on top of it. We've been the quickest to report the most accurate news, and we've been making predictions and analyzations that have been coming true real time. So I think we've been doing a really good job. I don't mean to be cocky, but I've got to give ourselves credit because we've been stellar and excellent in our reporting as well as our commentary and our coverage. And it's been fun. It's been a good month. Unfortunately, not the best circumstances to report on, but if you want an accurate reading of the news, multifaceted one where we give you kind of the Middle Eastern perspective, the Muslim perspective, the Western perspective, whatever have you, I think this is the most balanced place to get that in regards to all of these micro developments that are happening, because these are things that not a lot of people get into the weeds of, but we jump right into it. So come on over, show some love.
Go ahead, keep going.
No, that's it. Yeah, come on over, show some love. If you're not, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with me now because we've been running at it for a while, but I know there's always people jumping on who haven't been on in a while. So
okay, so I'll just what I'm going to start with here. So this is what I'm thinking, Ryad. I'll educate them on obviously how we got here from October 7th, right? Work my way from October 7th, 2023 all the way to now, and then we can go over the last 72 hours. You saw the outline I gave you, right?
Oh yeah. I went right into it. I've been paying attention to the news very closely for the last 10 days.
Perfect.
Since you.
You'll handle that part mostly.
Yeah. We'll get into all the developments there, but it's been going every which way, man. Things have been getting complex, so we'll break it down. But yeah, take it away in regards to October. That's important because we've reached a crossroads. I'll just say this: we've kind of hit a crossroads.
Take your time. We're still setting up.
Yeah, perfect. We've hit a crossroads where now this war is about to enter its final stage, or really graduate to the ultimate stage, which is boots on ground effectively. Now, whether that's the IDF or, U.S. Marines, which more obviously is probably going to be U.S. Marines because Benjamin Netanyahu has expressed the fact that the IDF may not be involved. At least that's what I'm seeing in conflicting reports. But we've reached a crossroads now where this war is going to, in the next maybe 2-3 months, really enter the phase where we can see who's the winner. And I say that because it's been asymmetric this entire time. And honestly, I don't even know if asymmetric is the best word. I said this the other day on stream. It just seems like we're losing effectively. I mean, we've really done nothing to staunch their military leadership as well as their capabilities. They still seem to have people who can jump up in line, succeed the people who are martyred, dealing a great deal of damage to these Gulf countries, to Saudi Arabia, and of course primarily Israel being the main target. The Houthis have mobilized. They still got Hezbollah in southern Lebanon that they're fighting. The IDF is stretched thin according to commanders. And so it really doesn't seem as if, though, the United States is winning the way we thought we would, and that's because we thought this would be 4 days. Now we're at a month. So it's an important moment right here where we're going to segue into boots on ground. But it's important that before we get into this part of the war where this problem will probably be exacerbated. You guys understand how we got here. And October 7th is probably the first final piece, or the first piece in like the modern history timeline. You can go all the way back to Ajax in 79, but for the sake of understanding and relevance, October 7th sets a very nice foundation to have a full understanding and elucidate a larger picture as to why we're even doing what we're doing. So like, go ahead, because a lot of people don't know this, man, and you repeat it all the time.
Yeah,
and people forget
I do.
it. So,
but it's a lot. So, so guys, the purpose of today's show, for all of you guys that tuned in, if you guys were wondering about, Middle Eastern foreign policy, what's going on, how the hell we got here, this is going to be probably one of the most informative shows me and my brother have ever done. So, grab some popcorn, get yourself a drink or whatever, and listen in, because you guys are about to get educated on Middle Eastern foreign policy like you've never been before, because I haven't seen anyone really go through this thoroughly. So the goal is I'm going to explain for you guys how we got here from October 7th as a starting point. Obviously, this conflict has been going on way before October 7th. We can go all the way back, really, if we wanted, to like 2018 with the march where the Palestinians were marching on the fence. They're doing these protests, and then the Israelis were shooting at them. That's actually what got Yahya Sinwar interested in masterminding October 7th. But for the purposes of today, I'm going to start October 7th and work our way. But what I will do for you guys is I'm going to explain to you nice and thoroughly why they attacked on October 7th, okay? And there's multiple different reasons. A lot of it the mainstream media doesn't cover. Before I get into that, I'm going to read chats one last time, because it's going to be a while since I read them before this. So let me go here. Grindly substitute teacher is an understatement. Nobody respects a sub. Yeah. Padawan says, guys, most of the country needs this message. They don't understand what's about to happen. One of my officers just got plucked for this conflict. His toddler was just in the office. Pray he comes back. His son deserves better from America. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Out to Ashes, how do you feel about James Spisback, who was running for Florida governor? Definitely a better candidate than Byron. My brother's on USS 4 and has been fighting fires for a week. 1,000 soldiers do not have beds from the fires and plumbing floods. My neighbor's Army Reserves in his orders to ship out in September. Yeah, it's crazy. Wow. God help us all. Wow. I was a homeowner, but relocating, now renting. Should I buy a townhouse and hold it as a future rental property? Oh, no, we read that one before. You have any other last-minute chats you want to read, Ryad, before I get into this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got two. Mo Camera says, thoughts on Netanyahu admitting to funding Hamas? Yeah, no secret there. I'm not surprised. He's just been blatantly honest with everything lately. With the whole boots on ground, Hamas, annexing the West Bank, annexing Gaza. He's just been saying it verbatim. Not only on Hebrew media, but American media, which is kind of a new switch around. And then Whaleballs25 says, how do you feel that it's likely you'll be drafted? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think we'll get to that point. And we'll go over why. But, hey, bro, they call me. All right, anyways, go ahead.
TJ Pill and Sirach No Diddy, thank you guys so much for the gift of subs. Okay, without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so guys, let me share my screen real quick for you guys. Give me a sec. So right here, we got a map of the Middle East, okay? So as you guys can see, Israel is this tiny sliver of land right here, okay? And Iran is over here. These are two countries that are in the main conflict here, and obviously all the Gulf states are right here, right? And this is going to come into play later on when I explain to you. But for you guys to understand how the hell we got here, we need to go back to October 7th. As you guys know, on October 7th, right, Hamas attacked hold on one sec. Hamas attacked Israel, right? Roughly 1,200 people were killed. We know 400 of those people that were killed were IDF, right? Which leaves us with roughly, assuming best case scenario, 800 civilians that were killed, right? I won't sit here and litigate with you guys, the Hannibal Directive and all the other stuff, but understand that the Hannibal Directive was activated on that day. Yoav Gallant admitted this, who was the defense minister at the time, our functional equivalent of Pete Hegseth. And the Hannibal Directive is a controversial tactic where they kill their own people in the middle of conflicts like this to ensure that they don't, have to deal with a hostage exchange like they did back in, I think 2011 or so with Gilad Shalit, where they had to transfer 1,000 Palestinian prisoners to get one IDF soldier back. So this is kind of why the Hannibal Directive has been put into play. But that's a whole other conversation. But October 7th happened. Now you guys are probably wondering, well, who attacked on October 7th? These guys right here, Hamas, okay? Which is basically the Palestinian governing body in the Gaza Strip, which is right here, okay? This little strip of land right here. It's run by Hamas. They were put into power roughly 2006, 2007 via an election, and they've been kind of running the Gaza Strip ever since. This is different from the Palestinian Authority, which is up in the West Bank area. So Hamas and the PLO are two different things. So, so Hamas attacked on October 7th. Now, it's important to understand why they attacked. Now, the spokesperson for Hamas was this guy, Abu Ubaidah. If you guys remember, he was the one that would famously wear the red keffiyeh. Here we go. Here's a picture of him. And he outlined in detail why they attacked. And I noticed that Western media never really covered why they attacked. But there's three main reasons. And Ryad, if I miss anything, make sure to chime in.
Go ahead.
Number one was the Abraham Accords. Some of you guys might be wondering, Myron, what the fuck is the Abraham Accords? The Abraham Accords, guys, are these agreements right here. Okay, they were basically normalization agreements that Donald Trump put into play, where Muslim majority countries in the Middle East would recognize Israel, formally recognize Israel as a state. Now, here's the thing. For a very long time, the Muslim world rejected Israel's sovereignty and rejected Israel's existence because of what they were doing to the Palestinians. And this used to be kind of a negotiating chip for the Muslim world, like, we are not going to recognize Israel until they either do a two-state solution, give the Palestinians a state, or they have a one-state solution and bring the Palestinians in and give them some type of citizenship. Because what a lot of people don't understand is, here in the Middle East, right, and the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, right, Palestinians have no rights, guys. They can't vote. They're not necessarily looked at as citizens. They are confined to whether it be the West Bank or to the Gaza Strip. It's very difficult for them to travel. They're harassed at checkpoints, etc. They're basically like legitimately second-class citizens.
Imports are limited. It's an open-air prison. It's guarded by a huge wall. Border is severely protected. They can't get the same access or resource that anybody else outside of that strip is able to access. And so they've been kind of a penalized or oppressed group of people for several years, which is why you see that starvation for some sort of resistance that comes out of that strip as well as the West Bank.
Yeah, and if you guys don't believe me, think about it. When after October 7th happened, the Israelis controlled all the food that came in. Why do you think they starved? Like, the Israelis truly occupy them. When people talk about being occupied or an apartheid state, Israel is the definition of that, okay? The international community, when they think of apartheid, when they think of occupation, when they think of, no right to self-determination, all this other stuff, Israel is the state that always comes to mind. It's worse than South Africa, apartheid South Africa, right? It is, and I think anyone that would admit at this point, even if you are a Zionist, that Israel is, it's an apartheid ethno state. There's two sets of laws for two different groups of people, and it's literally based on an ethnicity. That's why they call themselves the Jewish state, quite literally, right? They have to maintain the majority. And even the Palestinians, and I'll say this before I carry on, even the Palestinians, guys, that live within Israel that have citizenship, they still don't get all the same accesses and rights that Jewish Israelis get. Okay, there's like something like 60 different laws that actually bar Palestinians from certain benefits that Jewish Israelis get. So even for the Palestinians that live within their borders, that have an Israeli passport, they still don't even enjoy all the same benefits as a Jewish Israeli. Okay, but anyway, I digress. So that is who attacked. It was Hamas. Now when Abu Ubaidah explained why they attacked, there's a couple of reasons. Number one was the Abraham Accords, right? The Abraham Accords, guys, like I said before, is it's an agreement that was pretty much middleman by the United States, where Muslim countries would recognize Israel's sovereignty as a state. Now, the Muslim world in general has typically always rejected Israel because of what they're doing to their Muslim brothers in Palestine, right? Now, the thing is, though, is that the United States basically made it where it's like, look, we'll give you foreign aid, we'll give you military equipment, we'll give you protection, blah, blah, blah. And what ended up happening is multiple countries joined the Abraham Accords, right? Sudan, Morocco, the UAE, Bahrain, okay? They all went ahead and joined the Abraham Accords, and these countries all formally recognize Israel. Now, there's a couple countries that still don't recognize Israel. And for the purpose of this discussion, what you guys need to know is, back in 2023, Saudi Arabia was flirting with the Biden administration with getting put into the Abraham Accords. Now, why does this matter? This matters because Saudi Arabia is probably one of the, if not the most influential Muslim country because of, Mecca, Medina, all the holy sites that are located there.
Definitely the most powerful and influential, and if not, the most economically stable, 100%.
Absolutely. So if Saudi Arabia recognized Israel, you could say goodbye to the Palestinian question. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. They were trying to undermine that plan that was scheduled to happen just a little bit ahead of October 7th, and so they knew that it was now or never. And Hamas had been planning some sort of attack for a long time because of how calculated it was when they paraglided in and everything, Fortnite style. And of course, there's a few elements as to Israeli intelligence having the go-ahead on this or the heads up, but with the foregoing knowledge, they still allowed it to happen to give themselves an excuse to actually bar on the Gaza Strip and launch their 26-month bombing campaign. But outside of that, that was one of the key reasons that Hamas had invaded. And then the third one goes into the heifer. So go ahead, take it away on that.
Yeah. So, and then the other reason, right? So number one was the Abraham Accords, right? Number two was number one is occupation. Let's start with the most severe grievance and then go on. So the most severe grievance, guys, obviously is occupation. In Gaza, it's an open-air prison. They have no rights, no sovereignty, whatever. They tried to resist peacefully back in 2018. They got shot at by Israeli snipers, etc. So they said, fuck this. We're going to go ahead and, attack these guys. So that was number one, the occupation, both in the West Bank and also in Gaza. Number two was the Abraham Accords. They understood that there was a chance, a very high likelihood that Saudi Arabia might join the Abraham Accords. And if Saudi Arabia joined the Abraham Accords, the rest of the Muslim world would follow without answering the Palestine question. And you guys got to understand that Benjamin Netanyahu has done everything in his power to not answer the Palestine question, which is basically either a two-state solution or one-state solution. He tried to go around the Palestine question and get the United States to basically bribe all these Muslim countries. We'll give you aid. We'll give you support. Just recognize us as a state without answering the Palestine question. Go ahead. And then last was going to be the heifers.
Yes, and I'll let you do that. But at some point or another, just an important intricacy to highlight between all of this, every single country bordering Israel or not around Israel, around the world, just globally, had voiced the concern and the desire for some sort of two-state solution. And so this was a popular idea. G7, EU, every single country has asked for Benjamin Netanyahu to facilitate, or previous Israeli officials to facilitate, some sort of two-state solution in order to bar peace across the entire land of Israel, whether it encompass Gaza, the West Bank, other areas. And that's something Israel has refused to do, which is why they fiercely occupy them. They have military checkpoints everywhere. They withhold the rights to visit their holy sites at any time that they desire, including right now during Holy Week. It's Palm Sunday today, and Christians didn't have full access to practice their rituals today because of Israeli closures, things like that. Of course, they run the law there in the West Bank and Jerusalem. And so there always has been this desire globally for this two-state solution. It's not an unpopular, like a Muslim-only or a Muslim exclusionary idea. This is something that the entire world has wanted because it's going to guarantee peace in that region. But it's something that Israel has vehemently rejected because of the fact that they believe that the land belongs to them in its entirety. Matter of fact, outside of the land belongs to them as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and not only that, they actually, the Oslo Accords was them like a good faith attempt to maybe even have that happen. But after Yitzhak Rabin, the former prime minister of Israel, signed this agreement with Yasser Arafat in 1993 in the White House, they killed Yitzhak Rabin 2 years after this chat.
Yes.
So, and the people that killed him were from Netanyahu's Likud party.
It was, yeah.
Okay? So like it's Netanyahu's done everything in his power to get around the Palestine question. But so those are the main reasons. And then the last reason why they attacked guys was for the red heifers. Now this has to do more with religion. But the long story short is there's a mosque. The third holiest site in the Islamic faith is called the Aqsa Mosque, which is located in Jerusalem. And this mosque sits on where they want to build the it's located where they want to rebuild the third temple. Okay. And what they're planning to do is they want to destroy that temple and rebuild their temple, right? The Jewish in the Jewish religion. And basically what ended up happening was they found 5 red cows in Texas, okay, the Temple Institute in Israel, that's also heavily run by Zionist Christians, evangelical Zionist Christians.
Yes.
They found these cows, spent $500,000 and kind of covertly smuggled them over back, not smuggled them, but shipped them over back to Israel, right? And obviously Hamas and the Muslim world found out about this and they knew what they're trying to do, which is basically they're going to slaughter the cows, destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and rebuild the third temple, right, to bring about their Messiah. And obviously the Hamas and the Muslim world would have an uproar if they destroyed the Al-Aqsa Mosque because it's an extremely holy site. So that is another reason why they attacked on October 7th. As a matter of fact, if you look at the operation, right, the name of Hamas operation was called Operation Al-Aqsa Flood. It was for that reason, one of the main reasons. So I don't know if you want to get more into the
red heifer situation. No, yeah, I mean, for the sake of going through everything in a timeline and chronological order, I won't get too in the weeds. I'll say this at the minimum. So yeah, in Jewish theology, of course, there's this idea, and this is not conspiratorial whatsoever. This is legitimate from the rabbis, their commentary, the Talmud, whatever have you. Any sort of official Jewish scripture or Jewish body would admit that this is the case where they must sacrifice a certain amount of red heifers. Perfect red heifers, can't be one gray hair, one defect, whatever have you, in order to bring about the temple or the entrance of the temple. And so they burn these cows, they bring them to ashes, they purify said chosen person or rabbi with whatever ashes they have of these cows, and then this is the anointed person who's responsible for invoking the ritual in the temple that is to bring their Messiah. Okay, that's pretty much the kind of really, really generalized perspective of the Jewish theological view in regards to these heifers. Now, the important thing is, obviously, from an eschatological perspective, this lines up with Islam. This also lines up with Christianity, but primarily for the sake of this conversation, it's Islam. And so that's also why there was a hunger or a motivation from Hamas or any sort of resistance group to interrupt this or get in between it, because this means that the Jewish people will bring about their Messiah, which from Islamic eschatology perspective is the Antichrist. And this is one of the major signs of the end of times. That's a very generalized way to put it. There's a million intricacies in between, but for the sake of this chronological time plan, I will leave it there. The Temple Institute has said that they have not sacrificed any heifers, although there's a lot of internal dispute or really controversy as to whether these heifers have been sacrificed. The key point to take away here is it wouldn't be advantageous for the Temple Institute, which is the encompassing body that's responsible for reporting on these cows, to actually admit if they were to successfully have sacrificed one or two, because that would give not only Hamas, the PLO, Hezbollah, or any other Muslim resistance group in the world some sort of heads up to it, but it would also give the Western world a heads up that Israel is trying to invoke some sort of messianic figure that's to return, but that also necessitates the destruction of the third holiest site in Islam, being the Al-Aqsa Mosque, because it's located where they want their third temple to be. So you can see why Hamas and these other resistance groups tried to interrupt such said ritual. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. And also keep in mind, guys, like my brother said, they've been trying to keep this shit on the low. They've been hollowing out underneath the mosque for a while. For years, they've been doing that. They've not renewed permits to rebuild the mosque or make repairs. They can't get anything approved. So the Israeli government has been purposely allowing the mosque to kind of disintegrate. They're not letting it get repaired. Ben Gvir has been, starting issues while walking up to the Temple Mount when he's not supposed to, right, to try to antagonize, a lot of fights and arguments and shit like that. So they absolutely want to destroy the mosque to rebuild the temple. So now you guys understand. So quick recap. October 7th happens. Why do they attack the Abraham Accords, Al-Aqsa Mosque destruction, and the Red Cows, as well as the occupation? Now you guys understand why October 7th happened, right? And no one ever talks about that on Western media, but those were the three main chief reasons why. Now, let's go ahead and go into what happened after that. So after Hamas attacked, right, the Israelis began a relentless bombing campaign, okay? And they basically started bombing the hell out of the Gaza Strip, and they began an on-ground assault. Okay, they bombed the hell out of it. Then they started to work their way from northern Gaza all the way down towards Rafah. Okay, they did this for about a year. So after they did this for about a year, they were able, or during this process, they were able to kill multiple leaders of Hamas. One of them was this guy right here, Yahya Sinwar. Okay, they killed him on October 16, 2024. So roughly 1 year after the attacks, they found him in Rafah and they killed him. Now, when they killed him, just so you know, guys, it wasn't targeted. They actually killed him by accident, because Yahya Sinwar was actually fighting on the front lines. Fucking nuts, by the way. But he was actually fighting on the front lines with people. This is the guy that, famously threw the stick at a drone when he was injured and had a keffiyeh on his face. Right? I don't know why the Israeli government put that out, by the way, that video. That was very stupid.
Charged up
they just immortalized the guy.
It was not smart.
Yeah, they immortalized him by doing that. But regardless, he was one of the planners of October 7th.
Desert Joe, thank you so much.
And he was killed roughly 1 year later when they caught him in Rafah by mistake. And Rafah was really the last frontier. After they killed Yahya Sinwar, right, they began an assault into Lebanon. Now, another important fact here is that you guys understand is that during this entire ground assault, they also assassinated another guy. His name was Ismail Haniyeh, this guy. Okay, they killed him in July of 2024. Now you're probably wondering, well, Myron, how did they get him? This is the guy that they assassinated in Tehran. Okay, he was there for the presidential inauguration of Pezeshkian, right? Who is the current president of Iran? This guy right here,
Masoud Pezeshkian. Yes,
Masoud Pezeshkian. Because the president before him died in a suspicious helicopter crash, which that's a whole other conversation. But Ismail Haniyeh was at Tehran for this guy's presidential inauguration in the summer of 2024. Okay, and Ismail Haniyeh, right, was the leader of the political wing of Hamas. Okay, so Hamas has two different sides. They have the military wing, which Yahya Sinwar was the head of that, and then they had the military wing is Yahya Sinwar. He was on the ground fighting, and then you got Ismail Haniyeh, who was the head of the political wing. He was the guy that was the chief negotiator, okay, for the hostages that the Israeli government was dealing with. So while Ismail Haniyeh was in Iran, right, in Tehran, for Masoud Pezeshkian's inauguration, the Israelis killed him, okay? And they cleverly were able to put a bomb in a room that he always stayed at every time he visits Tehran and killed him and his bodyguard, right? The Mossad up to their fucking tricks as usual. So, this is why you got to give these guys credit. So they killed Ismail Haniyeh in July of 2024. Then they killed Yahya Sinwar in October of 2024. After they killed Yahya Sinwar in October of 24, they had pretty much completed their ground campaign in Gaza, okay? Then this opened up the second part of the war, the invasion of Lebanon, okay? Now, you guys are probably wondering, Myron, why did they invade Lebanon? I'll tell you why. During the entire campaign, after October 7th, Hezbollah, these guys right here, okay? Hezbollah, who are a part of the Axis of Resistance, who support Hamas, who are work alongside the IRGC and the Axis of Resistance, who are funded by, they're basically funded by Iran, right? They're the most capable ground fighting force by far against the Israelis, by the way.
They're a connected piece of the controlled and calculated network to resist Israel called the Axis of Resistance that's funded by Iran, just for context. So it's Hezbollah, and then it's Hamas that we were just talking about, and then you've got the Houthis in Yemen that are probably going to mobilize any second now if they're responsible for this strike on Saturday or Friday. Yeah,
they're in.
Yeah, I was seeing reports. I don't know. It's official, yeah?
Yeah, yesterday, they're officially in as of yesterday.
Yeah, and so just one thing as well, Abu Ubaidah, just in case you guys are confused, he's the spokesperson of Hamas as well. So you got Abu Ubaidah, you got Haniyeh, and then you've got Yahya Sinwar. There's three guys that my brother had just mentioned, just so you can keep up. Ismail Haniyeh, Yahya Sinwar.
No, I'm glad you clarified. Yeah. No, keep going. I'm glad you clarified that because all these guys are figureheads for Hamas, which is very important.
They're all figureheads, and they were all assassinated, and they all play a key role, really, Ismail, in potentially bringing about some sort of ceasefire, some sort of peace, of course, something that Israel would try to sabotage because they want to continue this war, which is why they allowed October 7th to happen, despite knowing it would happen, so they can launch this onslaught and eventually annex Gaza or the West Bank. This is their ultimate goal. And just for totality, it's important to understand that as we're explaining this, because if you don't understand that as we're explaining this, then you think we're like being some apologetics for this. And it's like, no, we're just giving you the entire perspective and what the goals of either opposing sides are or is. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm glad you clarified that because it is important for people to understand the makeup because like people will say, who the fuck are these guys? So October 7th, again, Hamas leads it, right? The spokesperson explained why, right? Abu Ubaidah, the guy with the red keffiyeh that was famously is always on all the Arab TVs, right? The red cows, the occupation, and the Abraham Accords and the expansion of the Abraham Accords and potentially bringing Saudi Arabia in. Those were the three main reasons they attacked on October 7th and why they had to attack on October 7th before the Palestine question wouldn't be answered and Saudi Arabia normalized relations with Israel. That would be a problem for them, right? Then Ismail Haniyeh was killed later on in the summer of 2024 while in Tehran, and then they killed Yahya Sinwar months later while they in the Gaza Strip in Rafah accidentally while they were doing their ground assault. Now, after they basically completed their ground assault and made it all the way to Rafah, right? Israel began the second part of the war, which is invading into southern Lebanon. Now, you guys are probably wondering, Myron, why did they have to invade Lebanon? The reason why they invaded Lebanon is because Hassan Nasrallah, who is a member of the Axis of Resistance, this guy right here, okay, vowed that they would bomb northern Israel until Palestine was free, basically. And what they were doing from a military strategy standpoint was they were bombing northern Israel during the entire ground campaign by Israel. So what ended up happening was the IDF had to split their manpower between Gaza as well as securing the northern border because they had to evacuate almost 60,000 people in this area because they were constantly getting hit with missile bombardment by rockets and missiles and everything else like that. So what ended up happening was, and drones. So after they completed their ground assault into Gaza, they started restructuring and they invaded southern Lebanon. Now, originally, they claimed and boasted that they would try to make it all the way to Beirut. They were not able to make it to Beirut. They couldn't even make it to the fucking Litani River, to be honest with you guys, okay, which is this region right here. And what ended up happening was they were having intense fighting on the ground for several weeks towards the end of 2024, right? They killed Yahya Sinwar in October and they invaded, I think, Lebanon in November of 2024. And there was intense fighting, but what changed the tables or what, kind of switched the tables around is the Israelis were able to cleverly conduct the famous Pager attack, okay? And the Pager attack, guys, okay, was when the Mossad cleverly put a bunch of explosives and radios, walkie-talkies, beepers, and other communication devices utilized by Hezbollah, right? So 3 things were going on, and this is very important. This is how they were able to overwhelm Hezbollah in the war when they were fighting each other in November or so of 2024. Number one, they did the pager attack. They exploded a bunch of pagers, right? And killed several people, right? Within Hezbollah.
Hezbollah
then
leadership, yeah.
The Hezbollah leaders. Then they killed Hassan Nasrallah via airstrikes. Okay, they killed him. When was August? September 27th.
No, yep. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you were gonna say something?
No. I was gonna tell you the date. Yes.
So they killed Hassan Nasrallah by airstrikes in Beirut. Right, he was in an underground bunker. They killed him. They did the pager attack. This obviously overwhelmed the structure of the command. Hassan Nasrallah addressed the country after, and he was killed shortly thereafter. And this obviously made it very difficult because they had killed the leadership of Hezbollah. They killed him. They killed this guy too. I mean, I might as well give him an honorable mention. This guy right here. They killed Fuad Shukr as well.
Yep.
Okay, another high-ranking guy of Hezbollah. So they did the pager attack, and they killed two of their top guys. So obviously this overwhelmed them. They lost their command structure, and they weren't able to effectively fight the fight. However, the Israelis were taking a lot of casualties on the ground while fighting Hezbollah, right? So what ended up happening was they agreed to a ceasefire, okay? Now, you have something you want to say before it goes to the next part?
Hassan Nasrallah was a big piece in weakening Hezbollah, though. Hassan Nasrallah was a big piece in weakening that faction in southern Lebanon, being Hezbollah. He was not only a very senior military commanding and officer, but he was really iconic in the Shia Muslim world. So when he was killed, not only was it decapitating to the function of the military and their command center, everything else in between, but symbolically, this was probably one of the more devastating strikes that we saw. I would argue that this was a bigger deal or equal deal to the martyrdom of Yahya Sinwar. This guy was huge, and when he was killed, that not only weakened the morale, but of course the military leadership, and it had a huge effect, which played into what you just mentioned, which was the ceasefire.
Yep. Because because the thing is, guys, when their walkie-talkies exploded, right? They couldn't communicate. Well, if you're doing a ground assault and your leadership is gone and you can't communicate because you're too paranoid to use the pagers and walkie-talkies, basically you got to concede. So what they did was, but the Israelis were getting their asses kicked too. So they ended up having a ceasefire, and Israeli troops withdrew from southern Lebanon, and they had a ceasefire, right? Even though Israel continued to bomb them after the fact, but that's a whole other conversation.
And historically, Hezbollah's always whooped the IDF's ass, which is why they probably had that pager attack handy, as well as that crater bomb strike that killed this guy. They put a dent in the earth to get this guy and killed a lot of civilians in the way of doing so. That's how important it was for them.
It's the only reason they even launched the ground assault, because every time Israel goes into southern Lebanon, they always get their asses kicked on the ground. So they had to add in the pager attack as well as assassinating Hassan Nasrallah, so that they can overwhelm them, and that led to the ceasefire, right? So after the ceasefire happened, very important what happened, because this started the domino effect, right? You guys can see that we're starting to get into a one win here. Now we're going to get into the third leg of the conflict. After Hezbollah and Israel reached a ceasefire, this activated our guy Ahmed Al Shara, my brother's favorite guy. Okay, aka Al Jalani,
famous jihadi, yeah. I went into detail on him the other day.
Yeah. So Ahmed Al Shara, right, and his rebel forces from HTS Hayat Tahrir al Sham, right? Basically, after the Hezbollah was weakened, he was staged in the Idlib province, right? This was kind of a stronghold right here in Syria. And what he basically did was he went into Aleppo, took that over, okay? And then after he took over Aleppo, he started working his way down to Hama, Homs, and then eventually to Damascus. Now, at the time, it's very important for you guys to realize that the person that was running the country was this guy right here, Bashar al-Assad, okay? Bashar al-Assad was a member of the Aqsa resistance, and his thing was he was critical in allowing weapons, personnel, resources to freely flow through Syria to Hezbollah. Because if you guys look at this from a map perspective, right? When Iran needs to transport weapons, munitions, other types of resources, they got to move it through Iraq, into Syria, destined for Lebanon. So Syria was a critical strategic location for the IRGC to arm their proxy, aka Hezbollah. So once Ahmed Al Shara took over, he got Bashar al-Assad out of there, because Bashar al-Assad was allowing the IRGC to stage there to move weapons and resources into Lebanon for Hezbollah, who were actually fighting the Israelis on the ground. So that's why when Hezbollah brokered that ceasefire and they were weakened, that's when Ahmed Al Shara struck. and he started to work his way to take over Syria. Go ahead.
And some very interesting things, just a little treat in between for anybody who's not familiar. So Ahmed Al Shara, he's formerly known as Mohammed Jolani. This guy went through a huge rebranding in order to be an official leader of Syria and be accepted by the United States as well as any other Western countries, because he was considered a terrorist. There was over $1 million on his head in regards to a bounty. So the important thing, when he had a stronghold with his rebranded group, that used to be Al-Nusra, which was Al-Qaeda. So obviously everybody knows Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, all the lore there. He was a part of that group, and he managed the front in Syria. That was called Al-Nusra. After some time, he slowly rebranded to what is called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. That was the group that took over Syria in the matter of a week and then eventually conquered Damascus, and where Bashar al-Assad was nowhere to be found. Funny thing though, the United States was launching strikes on Syria and all these provinces in the northeast of Damascus to take out Al-Qaeda, to take out ISIS, any remnants of the group that we once funded, by the way, and which Joe Kent just admitted a couple days ago. And when we were bombing or carpet bombing this region, we strategically always avoided Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and Ahmed Al Shara's group because we knew that this guy would be a back leader. Why? It's beneficial for the Israelis for him to be there because he excludes or he pushes away Iranian influence. He's a Sunni fundamentalist. So for him, his whole MO is Salafiyya, is rigid Orthodox Islam. He has nothing to do with the IRGC, and they're sworn enemies. But for the United States, the benefit is he's not going to utilize the Soviet air power. Bashar al-Assad allowed the Soviets to maintain some control of the assets in Syria, oil, whatever else have you, and they had an air presence there. So it wasn't favorable for the United States to have Bashar al-Assad there because of the Soviets, and for Israel, the benefit was getting him out so the IRGC or Iran can't move weapons across into Lebanon, which this guy would happily oblige because not only does he serve the interests of both of these countries indirectly, but he also serves his personal interests. He hates the Iranians, he doesn't need anything from the Russians, and the Americans want him there. So it all fit like a glove perfectly for him to take power. And when he was running through Syria to eventually take control of Damascus, he was funded, I'm sure, by the CIA, but primarily by Turkey. At least that's what was front-facing on the media. Go ahead.
Yeah. So another thing too, also that's important to note, guys, when he took over Syria, it only took him about 2 to 3 weeks. He was able to take Syria in less than a month. In a couple of weeks,
which was crazy.
And a big reason why, you guys are probably wondering, well, how did he take Syria over so quickly? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, Hezbollah was weakened, so they couldn't support him. Number two, the Russians had their hands preoccupied with Ukraine, so they could have sent in air power. For a very long time, Bashar al-Assad was a huge ally of Putin because the Russians have a base here in Tartus, which is very important for them from a strategic standpoint, and a naval base here, a military base here. So for years, because Syria, guys, was literally fractured by sectarian violence because there's so many different groups that live here, right? You got the Alawites, the
Alawis, you have the Bedouins, you have the Alawis, the Shia, obviously, and then you have the Bashar al-Assad pan-nationalists. I forget what you call them. There's a lot of different groups there. The Baathists, I guess, and then there's one more. The Druze in the south.
Yeah, Druze are there too. Yep.
Yes.
So this Syria was extremely fragmented, guys. So since Putin wasn't around to assist him with air power, this allowed Ahmed Al Shara and his guys to take over the country within a couple of weeks. And what ended up happening was, as they were working their way down to Damascus, Bashar al-Assad fled to Russia. He's now there probably in exile/asylum. And Ahmed Al Shara is now the new president
in some penthouse somewhere.
Syria. Yeah, he's playing video games in a penthouse in Russia.
And the thing about this guy, he was sitting ducks. He was never attacked by U.S. strikes, even though they knew exactly where he was. The CIA had his coordinates. They could have took him out at any time, as well as the Mossad. They strategically and methodically left him alive because they assumed that he would eventually be the leader. And he jumped on the gun. And the reason why it was so easy for him, just to put it all together, the moment Hezbollah weakened, that was his go moment. That was his green light, because now he doesn't have to worry about Shia influence or Iranian proxy influence and funded Iranian paramilitary groups in the region that would pose a threat for him or be in the way for him to eventually conquer all of Syria and be the leader of Damascus and Syria as a whole. So
it was within days, Kat.
He jumped on it right away. Right when Hassan Nasrallah was killed and Hezbollah had the ceasefire and they were weakened significantly, that was his moment, and he seized it like no other, and he took control of the country in a matter of like really a week. They knew that he was going to take Damascus by the second week, the beginning of the second week.
Yeah. And here's the other reason too. You guys are probably wondering, well, how did they take it over so quickly? Well, as you guys know, Syria has a lot of sectarian violence, and they're a very poor country, sanctioned to hell, right? So Bashar al-Assad for a very long time wasn't able to pay soldiers. So a lot of these guys were like, you know what, dude? I don't even care. Like, here, take it. I'm not going to die for this. I'm not getting paid. So he was able to quickly take over the country, get Bashar al-Assad out of there. And also important for you guys to know, because a lot of people don't talk about this. As Bashar al-Assad, was fleeing and Ahmed Al Shara was taking over and all this instability was going on in Syria, the Israelis were bombing Syria's military infrastructure.
Oh, yeah.
So as Ahmed Al Shara was moving towards Damascus to take over, the Israelis were destroying all of Syria's military infrastructure. So even if Ahmed Al Shara came in, right, he would never be able to pose a real threat against the Israelis. So that's something else that the Israelis were doing as well. So obviously this was all coordinated. Trump himself even admitted that he put Ahmed Al Shara in. But Netanyahu took credit after the Hezbollah ceasefire to say, oh yeah, Syria is going to be free now, blah blah blah. So and then Ahmed Al Shara a few months after this came to the United States, went to the White House, met Trump, and actually was able to get sanctions lifted from Syria. So
that's crazy.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, this was a guy that was a member of Al Qaeda.
They're pressing him on the Air Force One. All of these journalists are like, yo, why did you just let this former jihadi terrorist take control of Syria? That's a vital piece of geostrategic, land. Why would you let this guy in? He goes, he's a strong guy. He's had a rough past. He's handsome. He's young. He's good. So I let him in. But he admitted to his own fault, that he kind of planted this guy. But, they were having some problems just a few months back, really around July or August, if my memory serves me correctly, where they were fighting with the Druze in the south. The Druze is like a sect group in the south, and the main government, HTS, as well as some Bedouin groups and some rogue groups that are branched off, were fighting with that sect in the south. And Israel had bombed Damascus back in August or July to send a message like, hey, look, we'll let you be in power, but you better not pull off this whole like extreme Sweeto, Salafi Orthodox thing. Like, you got to loosen up. And just recently, they tried to ban alcohol in the Muslim majority areas outside of Damascus, and they pulled it back because of an outcry from the people. So you can see they're like trying to impose this kind of like strict Sharia adherence of law, but they're very careful if there's disruption or civil unrest in regards to it, because they're just like one step away or a pin drop away from Israel or the United States taking them out of power too. So this guy has to tread very lightly. And he's been doing that. He's been opening up his airspace for Israeli missiles, U.S. missiles. He can't say shit. He's got no power. They destroyed all of the military infrastructure before he could even sit in his chair of leadership. So they made sure, hey, you can take control of the country. We'll lift sanctions. We'll give you some oil deals with Qatar and all that, but you're not going to have any military capability. And that's what they effectively did to him. They chopped his balls off for all intents and purposes.
Yep, he came into power with like no military, no nothing, because they know that this guy is dangerous. So
yeah,
they basically and also the other thing that Ahmed Al Shara did was he kicked the IRGC out. These guys right here, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, who basically are a wing of the military for Iran, he kicked them out of Syria immediately, right? So and as you guys know, the IRGC literally is like the sphere, the tip of the sphere when it comes to the axis of resistance. So we covered multiple things now. So quick little recap. We covered what happened with October 7th. Then we covered Hamas, why they did it, etc. Then that led us into
Clipper, thank you for the membership, man. God
part
bless.
Of the conflict, which is them invading southern Lebanon. Then we went into how that ceasefire led to this the downfall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, and then putting Ahmed Al Shara into power. Then, right, now we're in the final leg, right? Because Ahmed Al Shara took over in December of 2024. So a lot of things happened in 2024, guys. We're talking about Hamas falling, Hezbollah falling, and then Bashar al-Assad falling in late 2024. By 2025, now the Israelis are mobilizing to attack Iran. Now, why? I'll tell you why. Because at this point, the axis of resistance has been significantly weakened. So Hezbollah's kind of cooked. Hamas is weakened. The only people that were really still mounting a fight at this point were the Houthis. And keep in mind also, guys, in early January of 2025, right, this is how the whole Signal Gate thing happened. The United States was relentlessly bombing Yemen, okay? And this is how Pete Hegseth got in trouble with the Signal conversation, if you guys remember. Him, J.D. Vance, Trump, etc. were talking about all the ways and strategies that they were bombing the Houthis. Now, they obviously were not able to fully stop them from boarding ships, but they ended up being a ceasefire between the United States and the Houthis, where the Houthis would stop boarding U.S. ships, right, for a period of time. But they weren't able to actually kill these guys because the way the Houthis move is they're not just a paramilitary organization, they're also pirates, okay? So what they do a lot of the times is they control this waterway here, okay? And they essentially board ships that are friendly to Israel and to the United States. I mean, these guys bankrupted one of the Israeli ports. I don't know if you remember the name of it, Ryad. What's the name of the port?
But I remember what you were referring to. Yeah, they were disrupting a lot of the export during that passageway in the midst of the war with Hezbollah primarily. That's when they really stepped in and mobilized. And Another thing too, why it's so, and I'll remember where we are, but just to refer to what you were mentioning prior, another reason why Israel and the United States chose this time to strike Iran rather than others. I mean, you can argue Trump's a cuck, whatever have you. But remember, Syria was also a big part because they posed a huge threat in the north because of all the fractured Shia groups that the former leader, Bashar al-Assad, allowed to run wild. And so could you imagine if Israel started a war with Iran while all of these groups are still alive and running in the north, being Syria? Well, then they'd have to fight like a 9-front war. So they got rid of the Syria issue, and the only thing that really stood, like you said, was the Houthis. Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, since 2018 has been desperately trying to get them out. He's gone as far as to even carpet bomb the region to no avail, killed tons of civilians, and he was the largest purchaser of U.S. weapons back in 2018, if my memory serves me correctly, all to destroy the Houthis, in which he has not been able to effectively do. They still exist, and they still have a lot of military capability.
Yeah. And they just entered the war literally today, and we're going to talk more about them. But yeah, this is also a member of the Axis of Resistance right here, Nasrallah, aka the Houthis. So that's what ended up happening. So all of the proxies of the Axis of Resistance guys were weakened. So the Israelis put an enormous amount of pressure on Trump to attack, and that's what Netanyahu and Trump were planning all of 2025. If you guys remember, famously, Netanyahu came to the United States in March to talk about tariffs, right, and the Gaza peace plan. What they were really doing was planning the 12-day war. Okay, so at the time, Trump was negotiating with Iran for trying to create some type of nuclear deal, right? And Qatar, and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were going to Qatar and having talks with the Iranians. So June came in, and that's when the 12-day war happened. And what happened during the 12-day war, right, was basically the Israelis did a sneak attack, and which they called Operation Rising Lion, where they had a bunch of Mossad operatives that were embedded in the country, and they had those Mossad operatives destroy Iran's air defenses. They built drones within country and shot them at military generals of the IRGC as well as nuclear scientists. They killed several of them while destroying Iran's air defenses. So this opened up the gate so that the Israeli fighter jets, F-35s, and obviously their entire air force was able to come in and just bomb the hell out of Iran. And they thought they were going to get the supreme leader, but they weren't able to get him, right? And after this war happened, after the Israelis did this, the Iranians finally responded with some actual real force and bombed the fuck out of Israel back. Okay, this led to True Promise 4, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because the Israelis had been bombing them for a very long time, guys, and they hadn't really responded. Iran was always being criticized for being a paper tiger, but when the Israelis attacked them this time in June of 2025. That's when the people went to the streets and said, you better go fucking attack them back. They actually protested, saying that the supreme leader needs to retaliate. And that's when they retaliated, and they started showing some of their real ballistic missile capabilities. And they were hurting Israel a lot, guys. It's so bad that the Israelis put a law into place where recording or showing damage was illegal. You can go to jail for that shit. They implemented that during the 12-day war. And then obviously now, they put the same exact censorship law into play. That's why we've seen even less footage from this. As of recently, stuff has been coming out, but at the beginning of this war, around late February, early March, we weren't seeing Tel Aviv get hit so hard, but now we are. So that's what led to the current conflict we're in, because they had that war, 12-day war ended. Israel was getting pummeled. They begged for the ceasefire, got the ceasefire. Then we attacked them again in February, which leads us to where we are now. So give me ones in the chat if that all makes sense for you guys. We had to explain all the lore for you guys, right, from October 7th onwards. Give me ones that all makes sense. Now you guys know how the fuck we got here. And the reason why the Israelis were so desperate to have this war is because they looked at it like the Iranians are weak now. We weaken all the proxies. We destabilize Syria. We destabilize Hezbollah. Hamas is gone. We must attack now. Yeah. That is why they attacked in June. They failed with their decapitation strikes. And they said, okay, we need to try again. And that's what led to all the conflict, the fake uprisings, the lies about 40,000 people being killed, blah, blah, blah. Right? And that's how we found ourselves in this war now. And then we can fast forward to the actual conflict. Okay, now you guys know the lore of how we got here. So February 28th, what happens? We bomb alongside the Israelis, the supreme leader in his location, kill him and the top 50 guys. Now, the important thing you guys need to know is that the Iranians learned a lot from the 12-day war, okay? And one of the things they had to beef up was their air defense, as well as creating a military response that is not contingent upon higher levels of leadership being alive. So in other words, if you decapitate the regime at the top, they created what's called a mosaic defense. And a mosaic defense, chat, is the ability to wage a war against your enemies with devastating second strike capability with your leadership being gone. And that is what Ali Khamenei perfected before he was killed. That is why after the Americans and the Israelis attacked and killed the supreme leader, within 1 fucking hour, rockets were going towards every military base in the region, U.S. military base, as well as Tel Aviv. Go ahead, Ryad.
Yeah, no, the mosaic defense, as well as the fact that Iranian officials and some media reports that Iran has a very intricate and layered system of leadership. And so it's either that the military operates autonomously underground or whatever have you, or that they have a second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, sixth string that runs endlessly. And so if one guy is killed, in which they expect and they kind of want because they idolize this martyrdom culture, then the next guy just steps up and it's no hesitation to it. And obviously we saw that in the first week with the missile onslaught on the entire region, which Trump did not expect, by the way, but as well as the fact that they've been doing it every single time a leader's been killed. It doesn't seem to be slowing them down. So very well put. But yeah, that's like their military is built to withstand that because that's what Israel has done to the entire region. So obviously, if Iran had half a brain, they would build a leadership they would build a military that doesn't depend upon the very thing that Israel's going to target in the first few days of any sort of conflict that is guaranteed to come. So they've kind of set their government to operate without that. And it's evident, they've been making or covering a lot of ground in this conflict currently. But go ahead.
And then what I'll do quickly is I'm going to recap the past month of the war, and then I want you to go ahead and go over the last 72 hours. So, okay. So we covered the lore, how we got here. Now let's go ahead and talk about what's transpired since. So the Iranians, knowing that they can't necessarily fight the United States head-to-head militarily, what they've done is, what they've been conducting is something called asymmetric warfare, chat. And what asymmetric warfare basically means, guys, is you're going to hit your enemy in pressure points that will make them lose the conflict in other ways, okay? So they've been doing this in multiple ways. Number one, they close the Strait of Hormuz. This creates an economic and energy nightmare for the rest of the world when 20% of the world's oil goes through this strait. Also, they were able to effectively shut down Qatar's LNG. This creates about 20% of the world's natural gas. Okay? What is a Brent? What are we sitting at for a barrel of oil right now at this point? It's probably fucking sitting at like 110 plus or something. Okay, really? Okay, let's see here.
115 is where we are.
Shout out to OSSreport.com. Okay, so right now 108 is what it's sitting at, and then US is sitting at 102, which is fucking horrible, by the way, chat.
Yeah. Really? I'm seeing one. Are you looking at Brent? Okay, same thing, really.
Yeah, it's fluctuating. It's still going up and down and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's still horrible. Anything over $100 is
anything over 80 is like already an issue. We've been sitting comfortably over 110 for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, anyway, what was I going to say about this? Okay. So they're waging, this asymmetric warfare. So obviously they're creating quite a bit of pain economically with closing down the Strait of Hormuz and energy prices skyrocketing all across the world. They've created a diplomatic fucking nightmare for us because they have been bombing all the Gulf states. Now, for those of you that are wondering, Myron, why? Because a lot of people ask me this question, so let me answer this as well. Myron, why are the Iranians bombing their Muslim brothers in the Gulf? Well, I'll explain why. All of these countries, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, the UAE, Oman. Now, these are wealthy Gulf states, right? And Saudi Arabia, of course. These are wealthy Gulf states that, make quite a bit of money, very safe, very clean countries that rely quite a bit on tourism as well as their energy, right? For their economic, prosperity that they've been enjoying. So the Iranians, like I said before, know that they can't attack the United States directly or hurt the United States directly. But what they can do is create an enormous amount of pressure on their allies and destroy their bases in the region. I think something like 13 bases in this area have been completely destroyed by the Iranians. Okay? So they destroyed the military bases. They destroyed the radars that were responsible for notifying them when rockets and drones are coming in this region. And they also have been bombing and attacking other locations within these Gulf countries. And the reason why is because if you put enough pressure on these Gulf states who are all close allies of the United States, it undermines Trump's diplomacy. Guys, don't forget that last year, Trump's first official visit, he visited the Gulf to secure trillions of dollars in investment from the Gulf, from these rich Gulf monarchies. So for him to be able to, so for the Iranians to bomb them, right, completely undermines his diplomacy. And now keep in mind, the only reason these Gulf states allow the United States to even exist and have bases in these regions is for protection. Well, if we're not doing our job and protecting them, then what use do they have us for there? If anything, we're a huge liability and why they're being attacked. So imagine you're a Gulf monarch, right? Imagine you can't get your energy out of the Strait of Hormuz. You're losing money on that end. Tourism is plummeting. Your real estate prices are plummeting. Your fucking hotels and other locations are being attacked. The military bases that are supposed to be there to protect you for the United States have all been disrupted and dismantled. You're running out of interceptor missiles. And then on top of that, the U.S., whose job is supposed to fucking protect you, they're not doing their job. So this completely makes us look horrible from an international perspective. So again, economically, they're hurting us with the Strait of Hormuz. Diplomatically, they're causing a nightmare where we might not be able to maintain power projection in the Gulf anymore. And then number three, politically, this is horrible for Trump because he ran on no new wars. And he thought this was going to be a quick Venezuela in and out. And now it's turning into a protracted long-term war, which is exactly what he campaigned against. And they plan to hold on to this conflict until the midterms. And unfortunately, the United States does not have escalation dominance because the Iranians are the ones that are going to dictate when this war ends now at this point. So we've basically walked into a fucking trap. But anyway, I'll turn it to my brother. That's the overall gist of what's been going on, guys, over the past month. The United States attacks them, they attack the Gulf, and they attack Israel and create pain via asymmetric warfare.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been saying the last few streams, I streamed a couple times by myself last week, and I was saying, is it even asymmetric anymore, or are we just losing? Which one is it? So, but in regards to what's been happening recently, I guess I'll go back to like 2 weeks, because that's where things
do you need a
really...
screen anymore, Ryad, or you want me to take this shit down?
You can split screen it. You can split screen it. There's nothing I'll really share. I'll just explain this in maybe like 5-10 minutes. But really, where we are right now has kind of resulted in a lot of troubles or worries from the world because of the fact that a ground invasion seems imminent. If you've read the news or you've not been under a rock recently, it's kind of obvious that the Pentagon, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all these mainstream media news articles have been reporting the fact that a ground invasion is imminent. There's apparently 50,000 troops in the region, some mobilized from Japan, others that were on their way from the coast of San Diego, USS Tripoli, and other marine assets, about 50,000 total. But from what we've launched, about 10 to 20,000 just from the United States alone. That's per the Pentagon's reporting, although they tried to deny that. And so how did we get here? So firstly, 2 weeks ago, you've got, or really in the beginning, the Trump administration had said this would be maybe 4 to 6 days, whatever have you. And now we're a month in. Now, obviously, Donald Trump is having a hard time keeping his image clean or looking like he actually knows what he's doing because of the fact that he miscalculated how long this war would take. That's the first issue. Secondly, when we got into this war, or when Donald Trump started this war, obviously, Iran, like my brother had just mentioned, had hit several Gulf countries in the region, all of which are key partners of ours. Trump did not expect this. And so in bombing these Gulf countries, it put the United States in a very difficult position because now we're just not fighting a war for the behalf of Israel or for ourselves, which is a lie anyways. It's really just for Israel in its entirety. But now we've also got to fight this war to keep the Gulf countries safe, something that was never binding upon us in the beginning and something that somehow the Pentagon did not see coming. Although the Pentagon did give a heads up that this would eventually translate into boots on ground, which we're seeing is imminent any moment now. Maybe while we're doing the stream, it may start. So Trump says a few weeks ago, his first crazy Truth Social frenzy, he's been going on these Truth Social rants. He says, well, we're going to give them 48 hours. And he threatens that in 2 days, if Iran doesn't come to the table with some sort of stipulation or agreement or whatever it is, that we're going to bomb Iran's power plants. Of course, that's responsible for the electrical grid, for their oil refinement, everything like that. If you hit a power plant, the electric goes out. People in the ICU and local hospitals will have to be transported. They could die during this time. Catastrophic things, no water supply, everything else that electricity and oil and energy relies on. Really, the civilian population will feel it more than the government because the government probably has backup reserves they run on, generators, whatever have you. And so this causes some sort of outcry, this rage, and everybody is terrified. Then Trump walks back just about 2 days later. And by the way, the previous Truth Social post had said that we're, reaching some sort of peace negotiation and that we're making headway. And then he says that. So he's going back and forth on Truth Social, contradicting himself. Now, this is for a reason. Obviously, one can make the discernment that Trump is just losing his mind because he's an older man. And that I'd give some credibility to or some weight to. Certainly, there's some truth there. But I think the real goal of these conflicting Truth Social posts is to keep the oil price in the stock markets in an area where the United States can somewhat feasibly deal with it. If you don't know, a lot of oil experts have come out recently and people who study energy globally and have said that this is actually a lot worse than it may seem front-facingly. And that's because of the fact that Trump has repaired it or bandaged this leak in a boat that's inevitably going to explode again with releasing a record amount of oil reserves, as well as the fact that he lifted sanctions on Russia and Iran to kind of ease the pressure, which, by the way, are our adversaries. So this war has kind of worked against us in some case in regards to diplomacy or our issues with those countries and influence. But then Trump also takes a Truth Social and he goes in this frenzy and he says that, we're going to have 5 days where we don't strike Iran. And then he moves the 5 days to 10 days. And he said that we're gaining weight we're gaining and covering ground in these peace negotiations. All while at the same time, simultaneously, we're reading reports in Axios and other verified official reports that the IRGC has come out. By the way, from Fox News, the IRGC has come out and said, we are not talking to Trump. We've spoken to nobody in the last 2 weeks. And Trump himself is also saying there's no military leadership to even speak to. He said that 2 days before his Truth Social post where he said we're having negotiations. So everybody's like, what the hell is going on? I'll elucidate the larger picture as to why all these contradictory narratives have been floating around. This is all for a ground invasion. And I'll tell you why. Donald Trump says just about a week ago that we're going to have, or a few days ago rather, that we're going to have a 10-day ceasefire period. We're not going to put the Marines in there. We're going to halt our power plant strike. That's what he's referring to in this 10-day stipulation. Okay. At the same time, Benjamin Netanyahu and the IDF comes out just 2 days later in several reports from Hebrew media saying in the next 48 hours, we're going to attack every critical piece of infrastructure or military asset that belongs to Iran. Their arms facilities, their nuclear facilities, their oil refineries, which have been riddled in the news lately. So they've been carrying out that promise. Why? There's two reasons or really two discernments I can take from this. One being that maybe Israel is panicking that Trump may reach a point of diplomacy, but that doesn't make sense because we have so many Marines mobilized in the region. I think that Israel is setting it up for these ground forces to have an easier time in their potential invasion. That's why they're hitting all of these key plants. Trump and Israel, I think, are working in tandem. Maybe Israel is weakening the infrastructure, but Trump can play face to the American media to keep the stock prices and the oil prices stable. So Trump is saying, don't worry, no war, but he's telling Bibi, keep up the onslaught, keep up the strikes, keep up what you're doing, and we're going to have a ground invasion to put the cherry on top and finish this once and for all. The United States just can't have any front-facing activity in terms of the offensive, because if we do, it makes our oil prices and our stock prices so volatile, which makes me look bad and already hurts my shit record approval rating, which is the lowest it's ever been, as well as the fact that I may lose in midterms. So Trump is doing this kind of like front-facing, I have to make sure I'm looking like I'm winning thing, and then Netanyahu is actually doing the nitty-gritty and setting it up for an easy ground invasion with our supposed 50,000 troops that are now mobilized or present in the region per Wall Street Journal. So that's kind of where we are. Iran, in response to this, which, by the way, they see this coming. They're not idiots. They've seen everything coming, which is why they've been a step ahead of us, bombing the Gulf countries, the protests with Mike Pompeo, the CIA assets being killed immediately. Iran's been a step ahead. And so what are they doing in response to this? Well, they're going to start hitting key infrastructure in the Gulf. The Gulf countries, in the realization that the IRGC is blocking the Strait of Hormuz, has now vowed to join the war because they realize, wow, the IRGC has the ability to completely stop our economic gain by blocking this 20-mile passageway, that being the Strait of Hormuz, which is responsible for 80% of Gulf oil export. So the Gulf countries have joined this war. So Iran kind of sees everything coming. It's like the writing is on the wall. Israel has ramped up its response. Trump is, for some reason, saying nothing's going on and we're going to have this sort of peace deal in the next 5 to 10 days. And then at the same time, the Gulf countries are saying we're going to join the war. So Iran obviously knows this is all to set up some U.S. play for ground invasion. What are they doing? They're hitting key infrastructure in the Gulf. Just reported recently, they may have potentially hit a desalination plant, which is responsible for taking ocean water. Okay,
real
go
quick.
ahead. I'm going far. Go ahead.
That's really big escalation that we're going to talk about this. Guys, I'm going to get off YouTube right now. Come on over to Kick because this is where we're going to get into some important stuff with the desalination plants, because this is a very important topic that we need to cover, because some news broke recently when it comes to these desalination plants, and we got to talk about this in more detail. But I'm going to get off YouTube. I've been on it for way too long anyway. Been on here for an hour and a half. Come on over, watch my channel on the Kick, kick.com/MyronGansX, or go to my brother's channel, Ryad Report, whatever you guys want. But
I'll read super chats in 1 second, guys.
Open up a tab on both.
Just give us a second.
Quite a bit. As you guys know, Kick is my main streaming platform. So I am getting off of YouTube, guys. I'm dropping a link for you guys on here. Come on over to my Kick, guys. There's no ads. You don't have to worry about, ads or any of that bullshit as well. So come on over, ninjas. Come on over. We are going to do a quick switch here. Like I said before, it helps a lot when you guys come on over. Fuck YouTube. Been on here for too long for free. Gave you guys all this sauce. So now me and my brother are going to get to the real breakdown here. So come on over, guys. I'm ending the YouTube stream now. I'm spamming the link, mods. Spam the link. They can either go to Kick or go to my brother's channel, Ryad's Report, or the best thing to do is open up both tabs. Okay, so let's go ahead, guys. Come on over. I'm ending my YouTube stream here. Come on over to kick.com/MyronGainsX. That is my main shit now. Okay, guys, I'm ending the YouTube stream here. We're going to talk about the desalination plants, escalations. We're going to react to some Max Afterburner and other idiots, see what they got to say. And we're going to go into what this escalation ladder looks like, because now we're getting into very dangerous territory with desalination plants, which are now starting to finally get hit. So big deal, guys. Come on over. Ending it now. YouTube stream going down now.
While everybody's transitioning, I'll run through chats very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Juke 5 times says, what do you and Myron make of the huge anti-war protests in Tel Aviv? Yeah, that's been a thing since the Gaza conflict, to be honest. A lot of the populace in Israel does not really want this to happen.
They hate Bibi.
Yeah, they don't like him. Daily Griff says, thank you for the continued coverage. God bless you. Hey, God bless you, man. Christians prevented from doing mass in Israel. Yeah, I tweeted about that. If we have time very later, I'll go into it, but that's kind of the norm every single year during Holy Week. There's always some sort of thing going on. Desert Joe 5 gifted. I mentioned that. Thank you again, my friend. Ronan says, crazy how it's the Muslims who are trying to prevent the arrival of the Antichrist and not the Christians. Appreciate the eschatological debrief you give us, brother. Hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the $20. Alpha J says, December 86 landed on carrier in Mediterranean. October 87, March 88th, served on LPD, frigate destroyer, and minesweeper wooden, reliving a nightmare. I mean, look, I'm hoping that they just have a presence in the Hormuz and they don't go into an actual attack, but we'll cover that right now. Mr. Clap Cheeks, W. Abdul, keeping women in their place. Thanks. Char says, I don't know if it's fake news, but I saw that Israeli news said that they will not be using their troops for a ground invasion. Yeah, I saw that as well. That's probably true. Lotus, just saw
they're busy with Lebanon.
Yeah. They're stretched thin, guys. Again. They're stretched thin, and they don't want to lose any more personnel in Iran. If they hit the ground in Iran, it's really going to get smoke. Lotus said, just saw they banned Palm Sunday to be celebrated in holy places. This is getting ridiculous. Yeah, I know. I tweeted about it. Red Pill Clipper, 800 people watching, only 272 likes. Like the video. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Lotus says, reminder to like and subscribe. Thank you. Nino Assyrian says, not sure if this was AI, but have you seen the latest trolling video where Iran has written in Arabic, this is for the Christians on their missile because Israel closed the churches for Easter? I don't know if that's true. I didn't see that, but maybe that's something they would do. And then last one, Bear Z1 says, Jake Shields just gave me his number to talk more about World War I and Weimar degeneracy leading to World War II. Keep an eye out for me on Fight Back as a call-in, brother. America First, hashtag Israel Last. Thank you so much. Really? That's crazy. Okay, go ahead, bro. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, fucking haters in the chat fucking told that motherfucker to shut up. So enjoy the shadow run, bitch. Okay, and we got you over 1,000. So guys, make sure to like my brother's channel, by the way, too. Make sure to like my brother's channel, or like the video. And here it is right here for those of you that want to jump in. Here's my brother's channel. Open up a tab over there as well, guys. Do me that favor. Open up a tab. My brother's just hit 1,000 live viewers, so let's get him to 1,100. Okay. Okay. Where are we at here? What was the next step? The next thing we're going to talk about. Oh,
current situation.
Oh yeah, you're going to
talk
about desalination.
Desalination. I mean, we could start on the troops just so you guys know. So there's a bunch of Marines that are currently probably right outside, if not at least Arabian Sea or Persian Gulf. And so they're approaching the Strait of Hormuz. What they'll do, I'm not sure what the strategy will be, because obviously Kaj Island being the supposed target is like 300 miles inward. But we'll get into that in a moment. In regards to the desalination plant, so it's reported here from Al Jazeera. So I saw it on X and then I confirmed it from Al Jazeera that, I'll read it directly just so you guys know I'm not lying. Kuwait says an Indian worker has been killed in an Iranian attack on a power and desalination plant, as Gulf states report intercepting drones and missiles. So this is a very big deal, because this might be small. Maybe the strike wasn't destroying the function of this desalination plant, but now this just escalated this warfare to another level, where instead of just attacking military infrastructure, nuclear infrastructure, now it's going to go to water, power, electricity. The reason why Iran likely did that is because, again, I said Israel was vowing for the next 48 hours after Trump's Truth Social tweet, which now it's exceeded 48 hours, to destroy a ton of Iranian infrastructure, like the nuclear plants, the oil, everything else that they've been doing if you've been paying attention on X. And so I think as a response, Iran said, we're done, and they hit a desalination plant in the Gulf. So the Gulf countries are praying for these strikes.
Was it
something
Kuwait,
we've seen?
Or who did they hit? It's Kuwait, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like it's Kuwait. And like I said, it's been confirmed by Al Jazeera. And
explain to them what a desalination plant is and why that's a super huge, escalation.
Yeah, so desalination plants are responsible for converting ocean water, salt water, non-drinkable water, palatable water into drinking water. That's key not only for people in the Gulf to have fresh drinking water, but for other things that power other purposes as well. If you don't know, the Gulf is the middle of the desert. There's not much agriculture or opportunity for crops and things like that. And so they rely heavily on these. If desalination plants become a target for the IRGC with their ballistic missiles, which can 1,000,000% penetrate airspace of these Gulf countries and destroy all of them if they really wanted to, if this becomes a mission and a motive, very quickly you'll see a disruption within the civilian population of lack of water, panic, no groceries, sky-high prices. This is where like the whole warmongering, panic-mongering thing becomes real. This is where it actually comes to fruition, because now instead of missiles flying over people's heads and people recording and posting it on X and, key spots of hotels being hit for military personnel, now people are actually about to feel it. At the same time, people in the Gulf have been evacuating. The UAE has been subject to the most strikes, but the fact that they targeted Kuwait first shows that the UAE is going to get something much worse. Go ahead.
No, I'm looking right now at Max Retard. Do you want to react to one of his videos here that he put out?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, because I think the guys enjoy this, like when we react to some of these big YouTubers getting a lot of views on war propaganda, so that we can kind of debunk the stuff, right, for them. Like, you guys, basically, me and my brother are going to sit next to you guys and watch this with y'all and tell you where they're full of shit. So using our knowledge. So let's go ahead and jump in this real quick. Let me go here. Let me go ahead and share this with you guys. This is going to be hilarious. Okay, so the name of the video is, "You Won't Believe What U.S. Marines Are About to Do to Iran." Let's see what bro's got to say.
By the way, what was his position? Did he ever say that this would be boots on ground? What was his? I wouldn't know. Did he ever?
I think he did mention it before.
Okay.
He doesn't really give predictions as much as he just says like how awesome.
He glazes a military.
Yeah, just glazes. Glazes military might basically is what he does. So let's see what he's got to say.
30th Operation Epic Fury, and as the campaign starts to enter its second month, the biggest breaking fact right now is the arrival of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit aboard the USS Tripoli.
He's talking about the MEU, chat.
Amphibious ready group with embarked F-35B Lightning IIs, also known as the Panther. Fighters are surging from the Marine Expeditionary Unit into the Middle East right now. The IRGC is issuing a fresh threat. Of course, they're threatening that American and Israeli universities across the region are now legitimate targets in retaliation for claimed strikes on Iranian academic.
Well, here's the thing. Didn't they blow up a school yesterday?
Yes.
Israel did.
Israel did. Israel hit. I have it written down here, actually. We're going to go over it later. But since he's talking about it, this is delightful. No, I actually had it physically written down. So let's see here. I'll just pull up the article. So Israel hit the University of Science and Technology in Tehran, I believe it was. And pretty much what Iran had vowed to do before I pull up the article. The IRGC said, if the United States does not publicly condemn the Israeli attack on our college, university, or institution, we will bomb an American institution in retaliation after March 30th. The deadline for an apology is March 30th, Monday. Whether that's true or not, the fear that sparks, the sheer might of that bluff is already more than enough to disrupt the students, to disrupt whatever city that college may be in. So by Israel doing that, they just effectively greenlit a whole nother segment of infrastructure and people that were never directly involved in this war. Why is he talking about the amphibious group being present in the region, the USS Tripoli and whatever, as a positive? That's horrible. That's horrible that we're utilizing our best assets. This guy is an idiot. Here, I'll pull up the article for you.
All right.
He's pretty entertaining. Keep playing, yeah.
Institutions. Yeah. We're sure they were academic institutions. It's just a coincidence that all your IRGC headquarters were embedded in these academic institutions and hospitals and schools, mind you.
Wow, this guy is really
this dude's an idiot. He's talking about the Menab school. They came out and admitted that they had faulty intelligence, which is what led to the Tomahawk strikes that blew up the school that killed 160 little girls.
Yeah, that Trump.
They admitted that. Oh, we had old intel. It used to be an IRGC stronghold. but then they converted it to a school. They didn't know it got converted to a school, and they blew it up.
Yeah. And I think he was mentioning the college thing. He's talking about the school
He's
now?
mentioning the college. No, because the reason why I brought that up, look.
In these academic coincidence that all your IRGC headquarters were embedded in these academic institutions. And
he's trying to insinuate IRGC embeds themselves within
the human shield shit. Yeah, the human shield.
The human shield shit.
Okay.
Which, look, that's fine. You can make that argument, but like, let's talk about the Manab school, for example. They came out. That was bad U.S. intelligence. They did not know that had been converted to a school, and they blew it up anyway and killed 160 little girls.
Yeah.
You know,
crazy.
Like, dude, what the fuck? And they lied about it at first, like, oh, we didn't know. Dude, it was U.S. Tomahawk missiles, and they came out recently and finally admitted it.
Hospitals and schools, mind you. We walk into one of these academic institutions and they're like, yeah, this is a farming school. It's just for farming. And you're like, well, why are there ballistic missile launchers on your tractors? And they're like, oh yeah, the ground's just really hard where we farm. So we need those missiles to actually create a space for the crops to go. But Iran.
What is bro talking about?
He's
what the hell are you talking about?
I have no idea.
Also issued an ultimatum to the U.S. saying that the U.S. has until noon on March 30th to officially condemn the bombings of the universities or face.
And that's the problem. Now, see, this is the problem. That could have been there's already so many things to be concerned about in this conflict. You've got the desalination plants. You've got the oil refineries. You've got the Strait of Hormuz. Hello, the biggest thing that's been dealing a great blow of damage to the United States and the Trump administration. They're blocking this 20-mile passageway that's responsible for 1/5 of the world's oil, or 1/5. And now universities in the region that belong to the United States or Israel are now greenlit. And like, that could have easily been avoided if Israel didn't carpet bomb Tehran. They hit Tehran earlier today or yesterday, and UNESCO actually came out and condemned it. They voiced concern over the strike, and yeah, they vowed to strike back. And it's like,
we're learning more about
why would they not try and strike back? You know, why would they just take that? You know, and even the threat alone is, regardless if it's an empty threat or it's one that has pure motives behind it, it's enough to shake up the region and cause a lot more disruption. And this is like damn near a world war at this point. Go ahead.
Look right here. It's just so you guys know I'm not lying here. U.S. accidentally bombed Iran school due to outdated intel sources. See, this is what I'm trying to say. When this guy, and this comes from CNN, Western media right here, even they admit, yeah, they bombed it accidentally because of bad intel.
That deadly strike on an Iranian school that killed at least 168 children and 14 teachers. Two sources briefed on the preliminary findings of an ongoing military investigation tell CNN the U.S. military accidentally hit the school. The sources say the mistake likely occurred because of outdated information about a nearby Iranian naval base.
And many news outlets have been basically came with this same exact situation. So more than likely, they had outdated intel. They blew it up. They realized, oh, we killed a bunch of kids. This isn't good. And then they had to obviously, like, you know, avoid answering questions about it. And but this dude is over here saying like, oh yeah, they're hiding. The IRGC is hiding behind academic institutions. No, you fucking retard. We just have old intel and blew up 170 little girls.
Yeah. And of course, Trump lied about it and said it was Iran. Like, this is just all blowing back in his face. Brutal.
Yeah, bruh. Like, come on, dude. Are you serious? Like, and this is what I'm trying to say, like, with this Max Afterburner guy. Like, the bro's just, like, stupid as fuck.
Has he responded to the debate request? No. He probably hasn't said a thing.
I don't know. Maybe he did. I haven't.
He likely hasn't. He likely hasn't. You would have known.
Consequences would be Iran striking the different universities that have affiliations with the U.S. and Israel in the Middle East itself. They told students, staff to get 1 kilometer away from all these campuses because they're going to strike them now. But this Marine Expeditionary Unit has a little something to say about Iran's threats, and they're going to take the fight even harder to Iran at this point because they're rolling in with those F-35s, transport aircraft, amphibious assault vehicles, and tactical assets that give instant power projection across the Persian Gulf. So stay with me because the F-35B Lightning II is about to do what it does best to support the Marine Expeditionary Units, Marine Recon, and Raiders to help protect freedom of navigation through the Straits of Hormuz. We're going to be assessing exactly what these Marines could do, they could be doing right now in Iran or the surrounding areas around Iran. And what the Marine Expeditionary Unit does next is going to challenge everything we've heard about close air support from the F-35B. But before that, we got to talk about the fact that putting these Marines on Kaj Island, that to me doesn't make a lot of sense without complete air supremacy. Right now, the U.S. has air.
Oh, so even the retard knows this is a bad idea. Even the retard knows this is a bad idea. Let's see how he fucking justifies this one. Even this guy
By the
knows
way,
that this is a really bad idea.
If we have a strong presence in the Hormuz, which is obvious, right? That's evident at this point. That's not going to help oil prices. Actually, you know, I don't know if you know that, if you saw this, Wall Street analysts and U.S. officials out of the White House and other key pieces have predicted that oil prices in the next couple weeks could reach $200 a barrel. Like, that's been officially stated. So this is probably the result of that prediction, or this is probably the reason as to why that prediction exists. Because once the Marines enter, it's not just going to be Iran disrupting. It's going to be Iran disrupting and the United States desperately trying to secure and reopen the strait. That's going to exacerbate the issue already. At least Iran now has autonomy. They're charging people. They'll let them pass. They're not going crazy. They're just leveraging it to hurt the United States. When we get involved, it's going to get way worse because now there's not going to be any sort of control, diplomacy. And how long is it going to take us to secure and then reopen that strait? And then the third step being to guarantee there won't be another conflict in the strait. And if the IRGC exists on the ground, underground, hundreds of feet in these cities where they build missiles, they can still offer a threat to that strait that the United States is now going to claim ownership of. There is no way to secure the strait unless you completely topple the IRGC or they come to the table in diplomacy. And if they come to the table in diplomacy, we have to pay them for the damage we've dealt. And we have to nullify the bases in the Gulf countries that exist for our power hegemony. What the fuck? Like, he will never explain that. He's just talking about amphibious assault vehicles, marine recon. What the fuck are you talking about? This guy is brain dead, bro. It's willful ignorance. He knows. And as this war progresses, I'm curious to see if he starts to concede his position and, you know, kind of admit like, hey, this is probably not good. But it's going to probably take thousands of dead soldiers for idiots like this to come to the realization that this war is not. I mean, how long did it take people to realize Iraq was a bad idea? Granted, people didn't have the foreknowledge of the whole Hezbollah, Islamic terrorism, war on terror, weapons of mass destruction. But it took people 20 years, 2 decades to come to the realization, oh, that was a mistake. Bush took 20 years. In a CNN interview in 2018, he said, yeah, I fucked up. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Nigga, you just killed like 1 million people. So it's people like this that add to the hubris of dead U.S. personnel for the sake of Israel. It's unfortunate,
bro.
Man.
Like, okay, so let's rewind that. So he knows why the fuck would we go here. So
doesn't make a lot of sense. We got to talk about the fact that putting these Marines on Kaj Island, that to me doesn't make a lot of sense without complete air supremacy. Right now, the U.S. has air superiority where the fighters and bombers are operating with impunity, but there's still drones and ballistic missiles. So complete air supremacy needs to be had from those drones and missiles before putting.
I mean, didn't they shoot down F-35 the other day?
Yeah, they did.
Is that air supremacy,
the
buddy?
IRGC bragged about it. I showed that on stream. Yeah, they did, and they had to make an emergency landing, and that was the first time in history they've ever done it. Bad look for Lockheed Martin. Yeah,
so how the hell did like, so what is he talking about, air supremacy? Like, what is this nigga talk like?
And this is what I said too. The biggest thing the United States has militarily, more than the fact that we can impose ourselves and destroy a country in the matter of a few days or weeks, is our bragging rights. We have brinksmanship. We can flex the fact that we have these F-35s and these state-of-the-art, technologically advanced military weapons like these jets or amphibious assault vessels like the USS Tripoli. The problem is when Iran strikes the Gerald Ford, when Iran strikes maybe the Tripoli eventually, when Iran strikes an F-35 out the sky, what does that tell the whole world? Oh, wait, the United States is not as strong as I actually thought they were. So that's like really damaging from an optics perspective. And they did that. And they posted a mixtape about it. Did you see it on X? They posted like this hype edit video of an F-35 getting shot on this like thermal radar. Here, I'll pull it up really quick.
And here's the thing. Look, bro, I'm even going on the fucking, I'm on the, you know, Israeli, I'm on the Hezbollah website right now, bro. Like, even they say US-35, I'm going, see, here's the thing. I'm using like Western/Israeli sources to show y'all how stupid this guy is.
Yeah, CNN reported it.
Yeah, everybody reported, but here's the Jerusalem Post. U.S. F-35 hit, forced to make emergency landing. IRGC takes credit. This will be the first time Iran has hit a U.S. aircraft in war, but the U.S. and Israel are using F-35s, which are fifth-generation stealth jets, costing up to $100 million. So even the Jerusalem Post concedes that they were attacked. They were maybe not officially shot down, but they hit it and incapacitated the aircraft, and they had to make an emergency landing. That's pretty much getting shot down, bro. Like,
and here's allegedly the video that's surfacing all over X.
Go ahead. Yep.
There's no sound here, but you can see it in a few moments. Boom.
Yep.
And that's if you go all up and down X, you can see that strike. So, and this was March 21st, so just about a week ago.
So what is this guy talking about with air supremacy of like an F-35 literally was hit? Like, what is this guy like, bruh? That's another reason why this Kaj Island takeover is retarded.
It shows that we're not impenetrable. It shows that we're not impenetrable. By the way, this puts the biggest battery in the IRGC's back. You know how many bragging rights they're going to have if we don't topple the regime? Now we got to take them out. Because if we don't, what are they going to say on the other side of this? They're going to say, we beat the shit out the U.S. We knocked an F-35 out the sky. We hit the Gerald Ford or whatever. We hit their amphibious assault vessels. We killed this many Marines. They're going to have so many bragging rights. So, like, now we've entered.
Because all they got to do is just hang on, bro. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. We're so dumb. Like, we're so powerful where it's like, it's not enough to destroy them militarily, dude. Like, we have to literally hang on they just have to hang on for dear life. That's all they have to do.
Yeah. And they've been doing a great job.
I was not telling you guys about the F-35 getting shot. I'm using fucking Jerusalem Post to show you guys that F-35 was absolutely taken out of commission.
You can't argue with these people, man. You can't argue with these people. And I went off about this for like an hour on stream, but what can you do, you know? He's just wrong in every single way possible.
You know what? For the rest of this episode, as we break this shit down, me and my brother are going to show y'all Western and Jewish fucking resources on why this nigga's retarded.
Yeah.
We're not even going to show you guys Iranian news. We're going to show you guys Western/Israeli media showing how wrong this guy is. Okay? So we've already backed up two things right here. Number one, he's saying the IRGC uses schools to hide a blah, blah, blah. Though that might be true in some regards, we still blew up a fucking school of little girls and killed them, 170 plus, on old intel. Stupid. On day one, by the way. And then now he's talking about, we got air superiority, air supremacy, blah, blah. Bro, an F-35 was just shot down last week. What are you talking about? So, anyway, let's keep going.
These Marines, any of these contingents of Marine raiders or recon operators in positions where they could be struck by these drones. So taking Kaj Island and creating a sitting duck force that's just sitting there to get struck by the drones or ballistic missiles doesn't exactly make any sense at this point.
Oh, so good job, buddy.
Good job.
Kaj Island is a fucking death trap. It's a death trap.
Even this guy realizes how stupid this is.
It's a death trap. And here's the thing. Here's the quick thing. He may mention this, but I'll say it first anyways, because fuck him. You got to realize with these 50,000 Marines or whatever's been really deployed, I'm seeing conflicting reports, but something around that range of 50K U.S. personnel, they're going to have to get through the Strait of Hormuz and then travel 300 miles northwest to get to Kaj Island, if I'm not mistaken. Who's to say when you're riding into the Persian Gulf that deep, you're right next to the coastline of Iran, in which they have mobile missile launchers that can go onto trucks and hit these ships on the way, can hit any sort of transport vehicles on the way. USS Tripoli being the main thing that's coming to my mind. So we've mobilized our most powerful amphibious assault vessel, that being the USS Tripoli to my knowledge, billions of dollars that it costs. And by the way, we're repairing Gerald Ford right now, so we're down one. And this can be subject to more missile strikes before the Marines make it to an island that's already fortified militarily because Iran expects an attack on such an island. It's responsible for military development as well as oil refinement, much of which happens underground in the island. There have been reports that a lot of the stuff that happens on the island is underground. So if the Marines get there, they're not going to be on the right level to effectuate any sort of change or actually reach a goal. They've got to go underground. And that's not to account for the 250,000 250,000 IRGC guards that are on the ground, armed and ready, angry that they're having to defend their land, and whoever else is mobilized or volunteered to fight the United States. It's a shit show, top to bottom. Any other reporting of this issue is wrong. It's dishonest. It's wrong. It's bullshit. That's the only way this can go. And that's the way it probably will go.
Me and my brother did not watch this video. We're giving you guys our raw reactions up front right now. So everything you guys are hearing right now is just us keeping it real with y'all. So let's see what else he has to say here. So at least he even knows that this is stupid.
But keeping them operating amphibiously from their different assault craft, from the actual Tripoli itself, that makes a lot more sense. And then they're nimble. You don't know exactly where they're at. They can do a lot of different.
Wait, is he implying that they're going to bring the aircraft carrier in here?
I have no idea what I think he's saying that the aircraft carrier will stay in the water rather than coming closer to the coast of the island.
Let me rewind this because I don't want to take anything he says out of context. Let me actually give him some credibility here.
Or putting any of these Marines, any of these contingents of Marine raiders or recon operators in positions where they could be struck by these drones. So taking Kaj Island and creating a sitting duck force that's just sitting there to get struck by the drones or ballistic missiles doesn't exactly make any sense at this point. But keeping them operating amphibiously from their different assault craft, from the actual Tripoli itself, that makes a lot more sense. And then they're nimble. You don't know exactly where they're at. They can do a lot of different things without occupying an island itself.
Here's the problem.
But let's get more into that in a second. Now let's cover some of the breaking news.
So now is he saying that they're not going to get on the island?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Regardless, it's still boots on ground because they're in the Persian Gulf. Secondly, and the most important thing, to stay nimble amphibiously is an oxymoron. You can't be nimble with that big ass ship being the USS Tripoli in the middle of a body of water that is facing the coastline of missile systems that have been destroying the region for weeks and that have shown the capability to hit U.S. amphibious assault vessels. What the fuck? That makes no sense. If the USS Tripoli sits there, it's a sitting duck. It's open to so many missiles. By the way, if that ship is there, you don't think Iran's going to crank out and bust out their best missiles for such a ship or such a weapon? They definitely will. They have the CM-302s like we spoke about from China that are responsible for hitting U.S. ships, but as well as the fact that they have the Fatah system, they have everything else in between. They can certainly hit it. And so I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe he's going to add to that to bring the picture together. Not making sense there.
And they can't stop it. And they can't stop it, bro. It's going to move way too fast or too close for them to even be able to react to it. Go ahead, read your chats.
Yeah, I'll read them very quickly. Because if I don't, they're going to pile up. Okay, check out Malcolm Nance, retired Navy chief who fought during the Persian Gulf War against the IRGC. Love the channel. Okay, well, we'll take note of that. Nino Assyrian says, question for you and Myron. Do you think Iran can handle multi-front ground invasion? I'm hearing they are going to do heavy bombing while troops invade. I think they probably can handle it for some time. And even if they can't, they'll make it as painful for us as they possibly can. That's the biggest thing that they're capable of doing. Share BD says, do you see any parallels between the story of them boys and the story of Iblis? Both were elevated, but both became enemies of God. YouTube, bro. YouTube. I can't. Rage B4. There is no longer pride in serving in the military. Yeah, man. Unfortunately, there really isn't at this point, if this is what we're doing in the Middle East. Tucker streamed about the BB Files movie. Okay, I'm sure he did. Yeah, he's been excellent lately. Char Binks, another Trump Truth Social post, claims we hit major targets and it was a big day in Iran. Yeah, we hit a bunch of civilian infrastructure. The death toll is like 1,500. And that's conservative estimates, and around 250 children. So it's probably going to come out that it's much more than that. But, yeah, he can keep bragging to no avail because the IRGC still exists. Go for it.
Okay. I'll read mine real quick, too.
Okay.
Jewel178, Airman says, watch your content since 2022 when when I was a final year heartbroken university student. I struggled a lot with dating, but my finances were okay. Now I need thought repellent. I have 2.5 times my income, and I work with the largest private equity firm in Australia. Bought my first investment property over 1.5 years ago, and don't plan on stopping. God bless your soul, Myron. Young man, listen and act on Myron's advice. That's life-changing and life-saving advice. Take care. Hey, man, I'm glad that you were able to almost triple your income, bro. Congratulations. The only thing that sucks for you is you're in Australia. Just don't go to jail for free speech. Short text says, I worked intelligence in Iraq in 2024 during this whole startup with Israel. I ran proxy, and then I ran directly. You are nailing everything on the head. Pay attention, chat. Okay, we got an intel analyst in here that's telling y'all that we're on the money.
Vindication.
Shout out to you. Thank you so much. Literally, we have an intel analyst saying we're on the money. G. Guro says, Myron, tell this FBA nigga that whatever, who cares? Oh My Day says, Myron and Ryad, Myron and Ryad for covering the war on these streams. I found this YouTube short on my feed and thought you might like it. It's included in the shows. Pretty much confirms everything you and Ryad said about the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, if we have time. Void TV says, hey, Myron, when will you be at the University of Riverside? I might have to leave early. April 7th if we go. My brother might actually come with me. We're shooting for April 7th, hopefully. Padawan says, that was UH1Y door gunner in that video. A full MEU is not a joke, but this is not a good idea. Okay, Padawan Slayer. Yeah. Trump is really going to sacrifice our troops for the lives of likes of Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, and Laura Loomer. Yeah, I know, it's kind of crazy, bro. And then Snow Young with the O/. And then One Chest. Guys, if you're a fat piece of shit and you want to get in shape, hit up my guy, One Chest. He'll coach you and help you not be fat. I'll drop the link in the chat, okay? Because being fat in the OSS is completely unacceptable. So So make sure to jump in and work with him. But anyway, anything else, Ryad, you want to get into before I continue reading?
No, same thing over here, guys. If you need some sort of personal trainer, if you're fat and ugly and you need to ascend before the summer, hit up One Chest. Go to my brother's chat. I'll actually find it and pin it in a moment, but he's the official trainer that represents both of us, and he's the man. Also, I had one more super chat. My bad. Jacob says, which one of you two are active or retired military? Neither of us, but my brother's former government. He worked for the government. He was a federal agent for Homeland Security, so... But neither of us were military personnel. Okay.
Back
what
to
were we
it?
talking? Yo, I had a bit off topic. I had a really good segment on. Did you see Daytona Beach, the spring break thing? You got to react to that later.
What happened?
Now,
What happened?
You know, if you know what I mean, the FBA is going crazy in spring break, like typical in Southern Florida or really Central Florida.
Oh, really?
So I reacted to it on stream. I had a good bit about, black people getting pulled over and shit. It was funny. So you got to take a look at that later. But anyways,
right.
Just reminded me of it when you read the FBA chat. But go ahead. You could play.
Stories that are happening right now. So this was issued by an IRGC spokesman. He said, Iranian forces are waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever. That was the country's parliamentary speaker, Mohammed Bagher Khalaf, said that. He also added, he's not done yet. He said, our firing continues, our missiles are in place, our determination and faith have increased. So keep in mind, though, the IRGC, those are the guys that taught the insurgents in Iraq and Afghanistan how to make IEDs, improvised explosive devices. They are the pros at doing that. So they would love nothing more than a massive ground assault force to be sitting
By the
ducks
way, quick
where
pause.
they could just cause more chaos and turn.
The spokesperson of the parliament that he just mentioned, Mohammed Ghalibaf, had also said today to the U.S. media or Western media that he knows that Israel is striking a ton of civilian infrastructure and going hard for these last 72 hours because it's enabling an easy entry for U.S. ground forces. So this is what I mean when I say they understand the plan and they know what's happening. That's what he said. Go ahead.
Okay.
Public sentiment even more against any war in the Middle East. That would be a great win for them, and they know that. So they're kind of taunting the Marine Expeditionary Unit. Check this out. This goes to show that Iran still has the ability to strike U.S. forces in the region with drones and ballistic missiles. This is an AWACS, an Airborne Warning and Control Systems aircraft that got struck either by a drone or a ballistic missile, and it's broken in half at Prince Sultan Air Base. Also, 15 U.S. service members.
Oh, yeah, you want to talk about that, bro? That they bombed the fuck out of Prince Sultan Base yesterday? Or
I
I
have it all queued up, ready to go whenever you want to talk about it.
Okay, let me let this idiot say what he's going to say, then you can counter him.
Yeah, because this
wounded,
is if
wishing
he
them a
doesn't
speedy-
admit, we'll give him a chance. Go for it.
All right.
recovery as well. So the regime's proxies are also firing up as well. They're probing and they're doing attacks over the last few days with Iran-backed Houthis launching their first missile barrage.
Tell me when you want me to pause it so you can...
at Israel on March 28th, and that was their
now the Houthis, as of yesterday, have officially joined the war.
sign of solidarity with Tehran. They were swiftly intercepted by Israeli defenses. American and Israeli forces responded with targeted strikes across Iran, hitting military sites and further.
I'll play the video by Fox News in regards to the Prince Sultan Air Base, but you know what's funny is, like, as we watched this guy over the weeks, you know, because I remember we pulled him up maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, his morale was way higher. Like, he was like, this is gonna be quick, and like slowly he's becoming humbled and he's realizing, well, yeah, you know, the Prince Sultan Air Base got hit and one of our key radar systems also got destroyed as a result. But we intercepted some Houthi missiles. It's like, all right, buddy. Yeah. The cope is manifesting. But here, we can go over what had just happened.
Yeah, so go ahead, go through it. Because I think all he wanted to say is that thing got destroyed and he's glossing over everything else. He's not going to talk about it. Because this was actually a very bad fucking strike.
Yeah. So we had some air warning and control systems being destroyed. The E3s that were present in the Prince Sultan Air Base, so U.S. assets. Iran had destroyed the base, and I think they killed somewhere around 10 to 20 U.S. personnel or even Saudi personnel. And so here's the video by Fox News before we get into the details. But this reportedly cut back on U.S. air radar defense systems significantly and is going to hurt our ability to be able to detect missiles in that area for the next few weeks. That's what I'm reading out of a lot of these sources here. And Iran has obviously held back until now to launch such a devastating strike, which is what concerns me, because it's like, what else do they have up their sleeve? Why didn't they do this in the first week? Why are they doing it now? You know, so this is by Fox News. Should be able to see that.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. We are getting some breaking news relating to the war in the Middle East. Few outlets reporting this, saying an Iranian missile struck the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia on Friday, wounding multiple U.S. service members and damaging several U.S. refueling aircraft. This is something that we're going to continue to track as the night goes on. We don't have any specific numbers on casualties or...
Mind you, the E3, the AWACS system that we have for the air radar defense system, the one that was struck was already a part of a dying fleet. So we have a shortage of the plane that they hit that's actually critical for protecting U.S. airspace or, you know, Saudi airspace.
Military hardware that may have been struck in this event. We do have standing by retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer. Hal, are you...
Yes. Yep.
You know,
it's been a base. I mean, it's a base we've used for a long period of time. There was a period of time we weren't using it. It was a couple years after 9/11. We pulled, because of concerns about security, we pulled a lot of our stuff out of there. But it's a very capable, very robust air base. We've used it for many, many years, and it's one of those things that the Saudis and us work collaboratively on very well. And it's also always been considered a base that was far enough back that, you know, it was considered more secure or safe. Obviously, that threat assessment has changed.
Dave Brown with the Wall Street Journal does have some numbers. He says 10 U.S. service members wounded, 2 of them seriously.
Wounded.
Again, we'll wait for more reporting to give us a little more clarity on what might have happened here. But again, Hal, this is a reminder that there's a lot of U.S. Air defense systems in the region, but these things don't work perfectly.
You know, right now we're intercepting over 90% of the stuff that comes in, but that means 10%.
Yeah, but just so casually it happens that the 10% that's getting in is hitting everything that matters. All right.
Gets in. And
almost like the ones that are being intercepted are intended to be intercepted, and the ones that are not being intercepted are intended to actually strike their target. Something they like just strategically don't mention, by the way.
You know, if they fire fire 100 ballistic missiles, that means 10 of them are going to hit something. And of course, in this case, you know, at least one got through, hit PSAP. What I understand was there were KC-135s, which are big refueling aircraft. If you recall, there was a catastrophic event with a KC-1.
Go ahead.
What were because if I'm not mistaken, this is a plane that has the big ass fucking radar that scans like 250 miles out, right?
Thing. Yes, that big black
what's
thing.
the name of that plane? Let me just show it to them. It's called the E3 or something like that?
Yeah, the E3. It's an AWAC, so that's considered technically an air warning and control system. But I have the post here, actually. So
here we go. Boeing E3 Sentry. This is the plane that they struck and destroyed, that they split in half.
And take a look at my screen.
Okay.
There you go. So
yeah, the thing is cooked.
Attack on air base. E3 is an AWAC, like I said, air warning and control system.
I gave you full screen.
A flying radar and airborne command center that tracks threats and directs U.S. air operations across entire regions. The U.S. only has about 16 remaining, making each loss critical. This is what I just said. This is a picture. So they nailed that shit. And that's what my brother, and you can see like that little thing right there. That's what extends on the top of the plane. That's what's the functioning radar system, I assume. But you can see here, there are going to be coverage gaps, says Kelly Greco, a senior fellow at the Stimson Center. Without AWACS, the U.S. risks degraded tracking, slower targeting cycles, and weaker coordination across the battle space. So all bad news, not things you want to hear when you're in a war with Iran and they've got missiles pointed at a ton of other military infrastructure. This is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg. And again, I'm noticing that the strikes in terms of how badly it hurts us are becoming more severe as time progresses, because Israel has become more violent in their onslaught and attacking their nuclear sites and their oil refineries. We reported this before. Israel's hitting so much key infrastructure and taking cheap shots in Iran, and they're hitting back. They hit that, and they also hit the desalination plant in Kuwait just a few hours ago. So they're slowly ramping up.
That's a big deal.
On how deadly they can be with their missile systems and where they really could hit if they decide. And to me, the desalination plant, more than this Prince Sultan air base attack, is way more concerning for what we just had explained earlier. That's key for the Middle East.
Yeah, because they're in deserts, guys. So they rely on these desalination plants for like 90% of the water. So if you destroy those, all of their water comes from the ocean. And we all know you can't drink salt water, right? You'll die. So what's up happening is if you lose the ability to filter the water, essentially make it drinkable, that creates a lot of problems, especially since they're out there in the middle of nowhere in a desert.
They don't get rainfall. They don't get rainfall. They're in the middle of the desert. They don't really have fresh bodies of water. Besides the ones that they extract from that doesn't have drinkable water. They need these plants. The whole reverse osmosis thing, I'm not sure how it works. I'm not a scientist, but if these get hit, and I know the one that was hit, if I'm not mistaken from my reporting, it was not destroyed, but it was damaged. But certainly Iran has the capability of destroying it if they so decide to. And so what will Israel do in return to this? Or what will the Gulf countries do in return to this? We already know the Gulf countries have mobilized. They joined the war. And so will there be a retaliatory strike on behalf of Kuwait?
And they blew up their aluminum facility.
Yeah.
Tell them about that. Tell them that UAE said, "Oh yeah, we're going to get involved in this," and then they immediately struck their aluminum plant.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the UAE. They don't have. You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they have a military that's capable of dealing offensive strikes. They can only really jump behind the United States and Israel and say that they were behind it.
All these Gulf states got a joke of a military, bro, because they rely so much on American protection.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with Mohammed bin Salman now. And by the way, this air base is, I think, southwest or southeast of Riyadh. That airbase is only 2 hours away from the capital of Saudi Arabia, and so that's also really concerning as well. But in regards to the aluminum facility, I didn't know much besides the fact that it was hit. But were there any underlying details that I had missed? I didn't see anything else on it.
I think it's because they had gotten hit in the school, and some other like infrastructure spots, so they hit them back with the aluminum plant.
Yeah, so lots of retaliatory strikes on key infrastructure in the Gulf. That's pretty much the long and short of it. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Air bases and nuclear-related infrastructure. And it looks like the Pentagon and Washington, they are crushing the Iranian ability for their military to operate, with the focus shifting towards the Straits of Hormuz, while also providing some...
Okay.
How are they crushing it?
They're crushing it, but they're blocking the Strait of Hormuz. They're panicking the Gulf countries. Yeah, whatever, buddy.
They're hitting Israel every day.
Yeah.
Like what, bro?
People in northern Israel, by the way, have evacuated their homes, and they've gone against the command of the government and refused to return to their homes, actually. A lot of people are afraid to go back home in northern Israel because of the Hezbollah rockets, as well as now the Houthis have entered the war. People in Israel are terrified, and people are evacuating in the Gulf. That's what Suleiman has been saying as well. So,
bro, every night they're getting hit with like I see it because I follow a lot of these pro-Israel accounts. Elon Levy, these niggas are all crying at midnight every time. Yo, we gotta run to a bomb shelter, bro.
Yeah,
I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, now you guys get a taste of what it's like to be a fucking Palestinian, dude. Doesn't it suck? At least you guys got bomb shelters.
Ramps. If Tehran dismantles its nuclear program, ends proxy wars, kind of a snowball's chance in hell of that, in my opinion. I mean, that's their last leg that they think will protect the actual regime, and also guarantees.
What did this nigga say? Hold on, let me make sure I have it in full context.
For their military.
I'm trying to be good faith here with some of his arguments.
To operate, with the focus shifting towards the Straits of Hormuz, while also providing some diplomatic off-ramps. If Tehran dismantles its nuclear program, ends proxy wars, kind of a snowball's chance in hell of that, in my opinion. I mean,
why would they get rid of? No, number one, they were willing to negotiate on the nuclear program. That's number one. That's why they were even meeting in Oman in the first place. Trump had a better deal than Obama had. That's number one. Number two, why would they stop their ballistic missile program and their proxies when that's exactly what keeps Israel from attacking them?
Yeah, something that
Israel's a nuclear power.
Casually ignores.
Like what?
Yeah,
dude.
And they hedge a nuke to guarantee that their regime won't be destroyed. That's kind of like the whole point. They're hedging a bomb. They never actually created one. If they wanted to create one, they could have previously. They really could have raced towards it and got it done, but they didn't. So they displayed some sort of good faith that it's only in regards to keeping their existence alive, keeping themselves as a functioning government.
And they only enriched at a high level when we pulled out. Like, all these Hezbollah agents, they never ever admit that they only started enriching at a high level when we left.
We killed the biggest leaders of the axis of resistance. In 2020, the biggest one, Qasem Soleimani, Hassan Nasrallah, like we mentioned, everybody else in between. And then we destroyed Syria. We put a Sunni group there that doesn't favor the IRGC. And we're doing all these things systematically. And in a chronological order, you can kind of see where the wind is drifting. Of course, they're going to increase their enrichment to a degree that's a little bit more of a threat. And then the first thing Trump does is, of course, starts war instead of actually going through with those talks. That there were some reports that talks in Geneva made or covered some ground. Who knows? But we undermined them and attacked them. Which, by the way, that hurts us again, because if we want to have diplomacy, they're never going to trust us. I mean, Iran will never trust the United States again. That's another negative of this war. There is no political off-ramp. I'll make a bold prediction. We might have a ceasefire, but there's no long-term political off-ramp besides regime change, because we've destroyed any ability to actually display good faith conversation with Iran. Every single time we do it, we stab them in the back. We tarnished the Obama deal. We killed their leaders. We killed Khamenei. We destroyed their infrastructure. We bombed their colleges. We bombed the schoolgirls, killed 180 of them.
Middle negotiations too.
In the middle of negotiations. And by the way, when we were negotiating with them before February 28th, which was the start of the war, we were reporting that we'll send Marco Rubio and JD Vance the following week to kind of finalize these peace talks. And then boom, we struck the shit out of them on Saturday. So it's like, they're never going to trust us again. So the only political off-ramp is one that's opposite to the 15-point plan. That's compromised of this nuclear being destroyed and that they can't have the proxy network and, you know, all of these maximalist demands. What sense does that make? Again, and it's either a show of bad faith from this guy or no political literacy.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, it's March 29th.
Oh, shit. Where the fuck did we go here? So hold on.
We were right around where you're first.
But wait till you hear how badly the IRGC's regime is starting to crumble. Because we've heard the rhetoric of that, in my opinion, operate with the focus shifting towards the Straits of Hormuz, while also providing some diplomatic off-ramps. If Tehran dismantles its nuclear program, ends proxy wars, kind of a snowball's chance in hell.
It was never about the nuclear program, but let's continue on.
Of that, in my opinion, I mean, that's third.
If you actually still think that this was about their nuclear program, you're a fucking retard.
Yep.
Like, if you actually believe that, if you actually believe Donald Trump when he says we're attacking them because of their nuclear program, you're a fucking retard. It's actually one of the easiest ways for me to tell you're a moron.
Last leg that they think will protect the actual regime, and also guarantees of freedom of navigation through the Straits of Hormuz. And the arrival of the 31st MEU with its F-35B fighters, that marks a powerful demonstration of, hey, if these negotiations don't work out, it's okay. The American resolve will take care of this. With this rapid power projection, these 2,500 Marines are now bolstering the 50,000 U.S. troops that are already in the theater. But wait till you hear how badly the IRGC's regime is starting to crumble. Because we've heard the rhetoric so far, but there's even more rhetoric with the Iranian regime saying that the U.S. is about to learn a major lesson, and that's one of their threats against these universities. They're claiming that U.S. troops are already fleeing bases. They're saying that there was a hideout that U.S. troops had in Dubai, and that they just killed 500 U.S. service members in, and that was debunked very swiftly.
Okay, IRGC claims it struck U.S. hideouts in Dubai, causing over 500 casualties. In fact, no U.S. personnel have been attacked in Dubai. The Iranian regime is manufacturing lies on social media. Now, here's the thing. Yes, this is the fog of war. Both parties are going to lie. But what I will say is, like, they've absolutely killed intelligence assets.
Yeah.
They've absolutely done that. They've killed Mossad and potentially U.S. Intelligence service personnel. Now, obviously, we're not going to admit that for obvious reasons. But that's why they were attacking a lot of these hotels. Or these like businesses that were in skyscrapers, because a lot of times they'd be fronts for an intelligence service.
Yeah.
Swiftly,
and we're gonna something that he's got to
So
realize, all this power projection, Iran has got the United States by the balls because of the fact that Trump is having to do this 10-day extension to calm global oil prices. He also might be doing it to give us a plan. Maybe we don't know what the fuck to do, because I mean, no one's really able to gauge a militarily sound plan that involves, you know, regime change in regards to the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, what are we going to do there? So maybe these 10 days is to buy time for planning, for intelligence, for the Pentagon, as well as to calm global oil prices. But the G7, comprised of several countries that are allied with the U.S., have been condemning the war. They've come out several times. They said, we've killed 2,000 civilians, 300 children. We're not joining this. And that's why Trump calls them paper tigers and everything like that. We're alone here. And the Gulf countries are saying, we're going to help you. That's like a 5-year-old girl saying that she's going to help you rob a store. Nigga, she's not doing shit. You're by yourself. Yeah.
You're on your own.
Just like Iran's rhetoric, even though their military infrastructure is crumbling, they're now focusing on pressure with their ballistic missiles and their drones, and likely their proxies. They're trying to activate those around the Persian Gulf.
They're already activated, buddy.
Yeah.
They're already activated. Hezbollah came in like day 2, day 3, and now the Houthis are just got activated.
I could bet you money Red Sea disruption will happen this week or next week.
Oh yeah,
they're going to do their pirate campaigns, and global oil prices
those guys.
are and oil
they can't
prices
stop them,
may
bro.
shoot up again.
Guys, we even had to do a ceasefire with the Houthis, bro. Like the Israelis can't stop. Nobody can stop these guys, man.
Yeah,
they're sand pirates. Anyway.
Distract the U.S. during what could be negotiations, but we're not exactly sure who's actually being negotiated with at this point. Could there be some sort of internal fracture within the regime where there are different elements that are trying to vie for power? When President Trump basically said that he couldn't tell the media who the U.S. was negotiating with in Iran, to me, that means he doesn't want that faction to get killed by another faction. He wants likely that faction to be part of the process for changing over who's actually in control of Iran. To me,
what? Okay, hold on. Yo, what is this guy?
Could there be some sort of internal fracture within the regime where there are different elements that are trying to vie for power? When President Trump basically said that he couldn't tell the media who the U.S. was negotiating with in Iran, to me, that means he doesn't want that faction to get killed by another faction. He wants likely that faction to be part of the process.
Or it could be that he's talking to nobody but himself, you fucking retard.
Or it could be that
How
he's
about that
lying.
one?
He's just lying.
Yeah, like, bruh.
Like, which everybody has called Donald Trump out on being dishonest and lying. Like, if the IRGC was in talks with the United States, hey, they're on their way to being destroyed. Don't you think they would have said, hey, yeah, we are talking with the United States? We're not talking with anybody. They've said that several times. Arakchi, Masoud Pezeshkian, all the military officials, all the spokesmen of the parliament, Mohammed Gaddafi, they've all said, we're not talking to anybody. We'd love to talk to somebody if it means the U.S. will come to the table in good faith, but we cannot do that. We've just killed 2,000 people. We've destroyed everything that's infrastructure to them. Why would they come to the table unless we're guaranteeing reparations? It only makes sense. And yeah, it's just this guy
actually believes Trump is talking to the Iranian government. Bro, this dude, oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
For changing over who's actually in control of Iran. To me, it looks like a bit of a strategy where you want a certain faction to get a stronghold, potentially even supporting that faction to be a part of a transitional government in Iran, while not handing them over on a silver platter to people within the regime that could take them out and assassinate them before you get what you want. But the elite force of the Marine Expeditionary Unit, roughly 2,200 Marines, 3,500 total sailors, they entered the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility March 27th through 28th. They're delivering that powerful suite of capabilities. They're underscoring America's unmatched ability to surge combat-ready forces all the way from the Indo-Pacific towards the Middle East, basically in just a couple weeks. The Marine Expeditionary Unit's versatile amphibious assault power, rapid raid forces, maritime security teams, crisis response expertise, marine.
So bro, this guy's just like, what the fuck is this guy? What is this guy saying, bro? Like, what the fuck are you saying, bro? Like, what is this? How does this video get views? Like, yo, are Americans really this retarded to listen to this guy?
And
like, is this just a yap fest of like bullshit, man?
And here's something I'll quickly
whole bunch of military jargon.
Hang on one second. Let me show you this real quick. So take a look. This is, of course, and we saw this back in 2024, something that is important in regards to this Marine group that's going to be deployed very soon. So remember this strait here? There's two choke points. So you've got the Strait of Hormuz right here. Okay, this is what's currently causing the global oil supply to run rampant. But you've also got this one right here. It's called Bab el-Mandeb Strait. The Houthis can disrupt this. In my prediction, bold prediction, and by the way, this is connected to, eventually, if you go north enough, the Suez Canal. If the Houthis disrupt this, which is responsible for 9 to 10%, I think, of the world's global oil export, Brent crude, then you will find not only that oil prices will jump, but that the Marines may have to face a whole nother faction that is nowhere near the Persian Gulf. I feel like the plan, and you tell me what you think, Myron, I feel like the plan is going to try to stretch the concern of global oil and the cutoff of these choke points, not only from here, but also here as well. And I think they're going to try to utilize that as well as they can. I think that's why the Houthis have not jumped in full-fledged yet, because they're banking on that Bab el-Mandeb, which they interrupted before back in 2024 during the Hezbollah conflict.
Yeah, they know they could take it whenever they want.
They can, yeah. And Not only that, but they have the entire Red Sea as well, which, again, can exacerbate oil prices, which is why they're saying it may hit 200 at some point in this war if the Marines enter the conflict. So that's kind of where I see that manifesting. But that's just like kind of my prediction. And that's why I hope the Marines don't actually start a full assault, because we'll see those choke points probably be compromised as well.
Of course, yeah.
Recon, when it comes to the ability for special operators to operate in the water or amphibious areas, it doesn't really come close to Marine recon. Sorry, Navy SEALs, you guys are cool. Don't worry. We know that you're awesome. In my opinion, Navy SEALs, they're kind of those surgeons. They're those experts with firearms. If you need a team that uniquely understands how to take down high-value targets and use firearms essentially like they're the scalpels of a surgeon, Navy SEALs, SEAL Team 6. You need special operators to operate in amphibious areas or in the water. Marine Recon's got you every day of the week. And I'm pretty sure even Navy SEALs would agree with that. From what I've heard, Navy SEAls essentially hate water after they're done with training. But the Marine Expeditionary Unit has the CV-22 and the F-35B. So the F-35B could be protecting the CV-22 as it goes in to deliver Marine recon or other Marine raiders to take down specific choke points. Again, surgical attacks and strikes, not needing to take an entire island, especially when we don't have air supremacy from the drones and the ballistic missiles, creating...
Didn't he say they had air supremacy earlier in the video?
Literally said that.
Bro, didn't this nigga say they had air supremacy earlier in the video, bro? I could have sworn he said that shit. Yo, hold on. Let's
we have air
rewind
dominance at some point.
Surrounding areas around a close cars. Right now, the U.S. has air superiority where the fighters and bombers are operating with
Okay, so he said air superiority here.
impunity, but there's still drones and ballistic missiles. So complete air supremacy needs to be had from those drones and missiles before putting any of these Marines. Again, surgical don't have air supremacy from the drones and the ballistic missiles, creating...
I'm killing the soundboard over here. Crazy.
A situation where we've got a bunch of Marines sitting on an island just doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't address the actual capabilities that Iran still has.
So if it doesn't make sense to you, then why the fuck are you over here glazing F-35 eyes and all this other bullshit? Like, bro, if you know it doesn't make sense, why the fuck are you over here bragging about equipment? Like, what?
With their drones and ballistic missiles. We can't put these guys in a position where they're sitting ducks for those drones and ballistic missiles. You got to be aware of the threat.
Wait. He said we can't be putting these guys in positions where they're sitting ducks for the drones and ballistic missiles, but earlier he said that they're going to be nimble in the water and not actually get on the island, which makes them a sitting duck for the drones and ballistic missiles. What the fuck, bro? This is like, wow. We're just deconstructing everything he's saying real time. He's contradicting himself inside of the video.
Yeah.
Got to know what's going on and put them in a position where they're doing what they do.
Very careful where you get your news from,
strikes.
people.
Yo, chat, and look, man, this is, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, this is really frustrating to watch, but this is why you guys, this is why we're watching it with you guys, to like just call out all the bullshit, because the thing is like, guys, look at this shit. This has 346,000 views, bro. This video has 346,000 views.
And probably all positive comments.
That's scary. Yeah, but yeah, look, the first casualty in war is the truth. The evil regime needs to be totally eliminated. No deals, no bargains. Speedy recovery for our troops. Finally, revenge for Beirut attacks bombing. Wow. This nigga really thinks the Iranians were behind that? Yo!
Yeah, bro. This is
Yo,
bad.
see, that's what I'm trying to say, bro. These people are stupid. Bro, this nigga literally said, finally, revenge for Beirut's barracks bombing.
You know how
Yo, that's a lie.
You know, and like, maybe, you know, somebody could say this is an echo chamber that we're in or whatever, but like, you know, when I talk about this, you and Sneeko were talking about this yesterday, we always think, and everybody in the chat, you can probably relate, we always think it's increasingly or excessively obvious that the United States is in this war for the wrong reasons, that it's asymmetrical, that we're kind of losing. At least one can make a viable argument for the fact that we're losing. And then you go to the comment section like a guy like this, or you see what he's saying in this video, and you realize there's a lot more Hezbollah to deconstruct. And so it's why what we do is very necessary, and every single new person that comes on and watches, I'm grateful for, because this is a dangerous line of thinking. And I got a bunch of people DMing me and texting me saying, hey, my buddy just got deployed, or hey, my buddy is on the Gerald, or my buddy is on the Tripoli. And it's troubling. You know, it infuriates me. And I know that a lot of personnel may lose their lives for no good reason in this conflict. By the way, we're not even, Mark Levin said this the other day. Mark Levin had said to the press or somewhere in some interview, but I remember I can pull it up on X. He said, we haven't really covered any ground yet because the first and most important step to reaching our goals is actually getting into these underground missile facilities. And, we haven't even taken the first step to actually approaching how that's possible. So it's just like things like this that this guy Max After Dumbass won't mention. But, that's why we're here, to debunk and deconstruct real time.
And his audience shows the stupidity. Finally, revenge for the Beirut barracks bombing. That's a lie. It wasn't the Iranians that did that. Exceptional update. Your aerial tactical knowledge and discernment of knowing what war for justice and peace is unmatched. They're all one family of Marines. I floated around. Dude, these are all boomers. You could tell.
These are all stupid combat veterans that didn't learn why we were.
Veteran Day. Never forget. These are all retarded boomers, bro. Niggas are stupid.
Yeah, he definitely has a much older audience. Like I said, this crowd will probably die off soon, but it's unfortunate that they share the
niggas are retarded, bro. This I know they're idiots. Literally, guy says, finally revenge for the Beirut barracks bombing.
Yeah.
He's blaming the Iranians for that.
Yeah.
It's... Here, I'm going to get you guys proof that it wasn't the Iranians that did that, by the way. Let me find out for y'all.
Lop the head off the snake, raids in the middle of the night, taking down command and control, C2, any of these sites that are allowing Iran to still target with their ballistic missiles and drones or threaten the straits. That could be one of the uniquely situated missions for Marine Recon. It's all about being ready for what the world throws at you. And
okay. This guy's a retard. Let's go ahead and watch some intelligent people for once. Yeah, here's Scott Horton and Matthew Ho talking about the Beirut bombing.
Bombing of 1983, and they cite usually the claim is that Iran killed 600 Americans in Iraq War II. So what's the truth about that?
Well, and the claim has even been exaggerated further, Scott, because what you hear from the White House, from the administration, from their proxies in Congress and in the media is that Iran killed thousands of Americans in Iraq. That's the talking point we've heard this last week.
Oh, here we go. So now it's every roadside bomb was an Iranian bomb, not just the Shiite roadside bombs. Great.
Right. And that's exactly what the President of the United States said earlier this week. I think it was Sunday or Monday. He was doing a Medal of Honor ceremony at the White House. And he said, anytime you see an American veteran and he's missing an arm or a leg or his face is half hanging off or whatever Trump said, paraphrase him, he said it was because of Iran. And then if you look at the statement, the one written statement the White House has put out explaining what the objectives of this war in Iran are, you'll see it's a short statement, not even half a page. But in that half a page, twice the White House cites as justification for this war the thousands of Americans that were killed and wounded by Iran in Iraq.
Man, it's just incredible. And, when it comes to Trump himself, he always doubles or triples whatever number he wants to exaggerate anyway. And who knows what they told him, right. If maybe they did tell him. But right going in, we all know that he doesn't know the first damn thing about Iraq War II. He doesn't know who supplied what bomb to who. He's as dumb as any, Mark Levin listener out there driving around who thinks that they know about this stuff. So when he's making that claim, in a way, I want to say, wow, what contempt that shows for American servicemen that he's willing to lie right to their face like that. But it's like, yeah, no, this guy is so...
Yeah, because most Americans are too stupid to understand the truth.
Ignorant that he might...
And he banks on that, like idiots like Max Afterburner and his retarded audience.
Not even know he's lying when he repeats that crap. But
someone said, Myron, is that the official reason we're attacking Iran? It's not the official, but him and Pete Hegseth constantly cite it as one of the reasons why we attacked them. That the Iranians were behind the car side bombs that blew them up during Iraq, and they also used the Beirut bombing and killing of 200 Marines.
Yeah, up until now, the line
but here's the truth, chat,
has been that 600 Americans were
for those of you that are wondering,
Iran in the war.
For those of you that are wondering, this is Scott Horton, okay, and Matthew Ho. Scott Horton probably is one of the best Middle Eastern foreign policy researchers in America, by far. He's written several books about this. He's done super fucking deep analysis on this topic. And he debunks a lot of the neocon talking points that were used to justify the Iraq war.
Or that's when they're sort of kind of trying to be specific. And even that is embellished by 100. It was 500 Americans who died fighting Shiites in East Baghdad and down in Najaf and whatever in 07 and 08. And, there were some killed, including Cindy Sheehan's son, Casey, was killed fighting the Sodderists in March of 2004 as well. That guy, Thomas Young, a paralyzed anti-war activist guy who was shot in the spine. He had been sent to go rescue Casey Sheehan's group after they had already been killed, and was also killed or shot and eventually died of his injuries. But anyway, so take us back, man. Help people understand. I mean, why wouldn't Iran have supplied every bomb in that war, Matthew?
Well, the main thing about it, Scott, is that they simply just didn't need to. The same thing with why wasn't Iran the chief supplier of RPGs and AKs and RPKs and PKMs and all those sorts of weaponry that the Iraqi resistance utilized, is because they didn't need to. There was plenty and plenty of munitions and weapons and ammunitions throughout Iraq. It just simply wasn't necessary for Iran to even do that. But maybe it's back up in terms of, when we talk about the numbers here, we're talking about 4,500 Americans killed in Iraq. And of that number, roughly 600 or so you can attribute to being killed by Shia groups, and the remainder, the others.
Okay. I stand corrected on that then.
I'm sorry?
I said I stand corrected on that then. I thought it was more like 5.
Oh, I'm not certain. I just know the last Department of Defense release on this I am aware of, which came in 2019, which came at the same time that the United States was enacting sanctions on Iran, designating Iran as a...
And who was Secretary of State at the time? Mike Pompeo.
The IRGC, the Iranian Republican Guard, as a terrorist organization, and ultimately setting in progress a chain of events that will culminate in the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, and then the retaliatory Iranian attack on American troops in Iraq. That's the last time I saw an update on this, when the Department of Defense moved that number up to over 600. But I think that's probably a fair approximation, whether it's 500 or 600 out of 4,500. You're talking about roughly 12 to 15% of the American deaths in Iraq were caused by Iraqi Shia resistance groups, Iraqi insurgent groups. And I should say, put this out to begin with, the cause of those deaths was the American invasion and occupation. That's the cause. If there's anyone who bears responsibility,
AK should never have been there in the beginning.
Who has blood on their hands, it's the George W. Bush administration, the politicians, the media, all those people who supported this war.
All of these attacks, Mossad almost always has foreknowledge of and does not tell us anyways. That's another thing.
No, they knew 100% about the Lebanon bombing. They knew about that one 100%.
Yeah.
100% they knew about that one, and they didn't say anything.
Sustained it. They're the ones with the blood of Americans on their hands, not the Iraqis, certainly not the Iranians.
Still, as you say in your article, though, figuratively speaking, but literally speaking, 4,000 American soldiers, Marines, airmen, National Guardsmen were killed by the Sunni resistance because America was fighting on the Shiite side in that war.
Right, exactly. And if you go to the
Sunni-led insurgency, 90%.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryad. You're good.
Of that time.
Right, and if you go to the article, I delineate that relationship that the United States has with the various Shia factions, if you will. I spent a brief amount of time on it. I would certainly recommend people go read your books, Enough Already and Fool's Errand, for a very good explanation of what was occurring here. Honestly, I can't give a better...
Okay, so...
that are attributed...
Then is when Geary's militia, the Badr Brigade, were turning that when he was at Roz and in the workshop, and here any knowledge of the...
Let's go to Lebanon now. Let me see if I can find it here for you guys.
Charge. It just relies more action than wars. So, the way he provide not out this.
So Paul, I have to talk about David Petraeus, and he gave Union and all calls
to bodies
for out almost nerve. Yeah, in more later on. One thing I heard in the...
Hold on, chat. I'm trying to get you guys to the...
You have, because we know the United States federal power, and just to act off like the this battles when happening.
Hey guys, this is a good broadcast. You can check it out on Scott Horn's channel.
What are you going to do? Straight putting problem troops in court, and there's $1 trillion worth of troops. Yeah, maybe to factory box balance. Hey, Bush,
bear with me, chat.
In this I'm
trying to find the exact timestamp. Maybe somebody in the chat will find it for me when they talk about Beirut.
And he says that Obama had built for him, but
we're advisors.
Is it in the beginning?
Act that of lies and crime. I don't know. Everybody doesn't just read anti-war. You got this great article that you wrote that we're reprinting here at antiwar.com. Edit to the stage here. In Iran, that Georgia. I like debunking it too. Sort of, you and I have a comparative advantage about this, obviously, but it really is crucial, man. It's one of these, major talking points on the war party's list of reasons why America has to go to war with Iran. They cite the Beirut bombing of 1983, and they cite, usually the claim is that Iran killed 600 Americans in Iraq War II. So what's the truth about that?
Well, and the claim has even been exaggerated further, Scott, because what you hear from the White House, from the administration, from their proxies in Congress and in the media is that Iran killed thousands of Americans in Iraq. That's the talking point we've heard this last week.
Here we go. So now it's every roadside bomb.
This video covers it all, but and quite a bit of it, guys. Feel free to check it out. Matthew Ho on the line that Iran killed hundreds of Americans in Iraq. Check it out, Scott Horn on his YouTube channel. We'll go back to Max after retard. I'm going to get you guys the Beirut info right now. But yeah, when they use the IED / the roadside bombs excuse, that's complete bullshit, man. That's complete bullshit. And a lot of his viewers believe that Hezbollah bullshit. Go ahead.
So someone just chatted, and I'll read it. I'll get through these. But somebody said David Hookstead. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Okay. Here, people saying Myron is interrupting, but it's not true. He just has timing. Yeah, guys, who cares? Thanks for super chat. Sneeko want collab yesterday. Myron connect them one-on-one. What? Oh, no, guys, don't worry. Me and Sneeko will do something at some point. Tommy the Third 964. Please cook this David Hookstead guy. He makes Afterburner almost look smart. Dude gets way too many views and puts out so much nonsensical content that it must make its way to you and your brother.
Take a look at it next.
All right, yeah.
Look at it next. Does he have a video? What's his name?
David Hookstead. I'm checking him out right now.
All right.
In the meantime, you were gonna pull something up?
No. We could keep playing Max Retard here.
Okay.
Speaking of being ready for what the world throws at you, I've created a unique member community here on YouTube. You don't have to go anywhere else, where I do live streams pretty much every day. And the members of that live stream get to ask priority questions, and they also get to see the different members' videos that have been created. And I'm creating the Max Ready Room so you have a place where you can come and get all the latest intel on the threats of the...
This dude's a retard, bro.
Okay, this guy gets good views too. Hang on, you want
to? Yeah, sure.
Take a look at this.
Sure, screen. I'll get off. Are you guys done? We're done with Max Retard after Retard.
David Hookstead. Okay, so he's got similar engagement to Max Afterburner. I think maybe less subs, but views are kind of similar, a little bit less. Let's see. All right, this is his most recent video. U.S. bombs Iran.
All right, let's do it.
I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. I'm filming this on the night of March 29th, and we have massive strikes that have unfolded, destroying in large part the electrical grid in parts of Iran, now under complete and
totally off topic. Get a better camera, bro. What the hell?
Blackouts after rolling and devastating strikes unfolded. So we have a lot to get into, a lot of updates today. Even though it's a Sunday, we are getting more updates today than I expected. So we are going to break it down exactly what we know. So I'm going to put this up on the screen for you right away. Earlier this afternoon, it was reported across a variety of different news outlets saying that Iran had been hit by U.S. Israeli forces targeting the electrical infrastructure in Tehran. The Ministry of Energy announced a few minutes ago, following attacks on electrical industry facilities in Tehran, Providence, and parts of Tehran City and Al Borz Province, electricity has been cut off, and efforts are underway to resolve the problem. Now, that is what the Iranians announced. Generally, we don't take them at their word, but we have the footage, we have the proof, so stick with me here. We got a lot to get into. Then it was announced, second update right here that you're seeing, Iranian state media reports that several areas of the capital, Tehran, and the city of Karaj are without power after the United States came in with brutal and unrelenting, and the Israelis as well came in with brutal and unrelenting strikes targeting the electricity grid to take that offline, to stop the regime from being able to communicate, move, whatever it might be. They want to pull that card out of the deck. That is what they are doing now. Now, this is what it looks like.
Okay, so
this is in Karaj in Tehran. So this, I believe, is in Karaj. As you can see, this is from the city. It is pitch black. It is 100% black following the U.S. strikes at this hour that have taken the electricity completely offline.
I just want to see what he's going to say about the Strait of Hormuz. I want to see him make Max Afterburner look smart.
And lastly, according to the Times, the Royal Navy is drawing up plans to deploy the Bay-class auxiliary dock landing ship to the Strait of Hormuz, equipped with several autonomous mine clearance capabilities, including underwater drones and mine hunting boats, in order to assist reopening the strategic waterway near Iran. So we are flooding in more resources to open that strait. The Iranians mine the strait, so there are mines all over the strait. We are going to send in mine clears to get rid of them, get them out of there so that we can then flood our assets, our resources into the Strait of Hormuz, work our way up the Strait of Hormuz, reopen it for shipping, as well as open it for whatever ground forces might be coming in. So as of this update on the night of March 29th, when I'm filming this, you have massive bombings underway that have taken down Iran's electrical grid.
I mean, this guy seems, I don't know if he's, send me a specific video. He's just reporting the news to me. It doesn't seem like he's
it's not really he's just
vehemently wrong or anything like that. Maybe he's pro-American, but this can't be worse than Max Afterburner. Max is like starting the video bragging about how we're winning the war and way ahead. It seems like this guy is just kind of giving the news, but maybe I'm wrong. If you have a video in mind, bro, send it to me. But it doesn't seem like this guy is too terrible.
Max Afterburner is like legitimately
I want to be fair. I didn't think that was that bad. Okay. But yeah, I mean,
he's reading Twitter is what he's doing. He's just reading Twitter.
Reading Twitter. He's giving the news. But yeah, let's keep going on with
as well. But the F-35B with the Marine Expeditionary Unit, that's basically the hero platform that is owning the fight. They're embarked on the USS Tripoli, and they deliver the precision, survivability, and rapid response that turns the Marine Expeditionary Unit into an unstoppable force. Those strike fighters, they're incredibly capable. The way that their avionics team up and talk to the different assets, everybody that's on that same link can see that F-35B's radar. APG-82, highly capable. This jet is uniquely suited to be patrolling over the Persian Gulf coastline with its massive radar, pumping information to A-10s, AH-64s, giving them the exact lowdown and precise locations of where these drones are coming in from. The F-35B could target it themselves as well. But amphibious landings, covering those landings, maintaining overlapping coverage, and deterring any further Iranian threats from their drones would be one of the main goals, I think, of the F-35B in the Straits of Hormuz. It's basically like the F-35B is built to come in, thrust hard, and dominate with overwhelming power and precision in that exact right spot.
Yeah, dude, this guy's such a fucking idiot, dude. Like, okay, so the F-35B, what's they're going to do when they shoot hundreds of drones into the area and overwhelm, like, air defense? Like, what are you going to do when they shoot hundreds of drones at Kaj Island? What are you going to do, bro? Is the F-35B going to shoot it all down? Like, come on,
By the
dude.
way, like, if we're in that region, look,
retarded, bro.
If we're in that Gulf and we're not attacking Kaj Island, then what else are we doing? Well, what else is the point of being there, right? It's either to get into Iran or to attack the island. The island seems like the more obvious target. And by the way, Trump was flirting with the idea of attacking the island when he was talking to the press. He says, maybe we'll go for it, maybe we won't. So that kind of seems to be the pressing matter here. But he's saying that it's not a good idea, and so we won't do it. That's absolutely what we will do. Otherwise, we have no business of being there. Maybe the argument could be to open the Strait of Hormuz, but that's going to be a multi-day conflict. I don't think that'll happen right away. I think it's going to be very difficult for the United States to do that. And if we do it, it still doesn't guarantee free passage or insured passage of ships for oil export and it being cheaper. That just won't happen. That's not going to be an immediate effect. And I was saying on Twitter, too, Iran has weaponized the Strait of Hormuz more than really they've weaponized the missiles. That's been a bigger play for them. That's been a bigger vantage point in terms of leverage against the United States and the global economy. And so they're going to hold on to that with their life because that matters more than anything. That's what they've been able to put the United States in a bad position with. Every single country complaining about higher oil prices, Asian countries complaining that they're not going to get helium, oil, they may run out of power supply in a few weeks, the desalination plant's getting hit as a result of U.S. attacks. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz has been the bread and butter for Iran to kick us in the balls effectively while we're punching them in the face. And so long as they can somewhat offer disruption, so long as they can offer some sort of drone presence, missiles. Look, it doesn't take a whole armada, a Navy armada, airstrikes. It just takes the IRGC having the ability to send some drones over that 20-mile span that will continuously blockade these ships from wanting to pass. It has to be a complete open. It has to be a complete wide open passageway, a guarantee of no threat. Even if the smallest remnant of a threat remains, then the oil prices will stay above $100. Mark my words on that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, here's some other retards here. Our favorite people, the enforcer, also another idiot. Let's see what they got to say.
with the U.S. doctrine and familiar with U.S. training. Right now, we have raised over $3,354 on the fundraiser. We are almost officially almost about $1,000 above the goal right now, thanks to the LSA once again. And a huge shout out to everybody once again for helping us to hit that goal and go.
God, these guys have the most annoying voices ever, man. It's like this dude is fucking needs to blow his nose or something. What's up with the congestion, man?
Well beyond it, because these days the channel over the many years it's been running has raised somewhere in the neighborhood of just about over $1.7 million. Sadly, I don't have the exact number in my head right now to tell you, but it's definitely in that region. So that's a whopping amount of money right there. 1.7 million from a YouTube channel for charity, thanks to the
These guys are raising money, Razum, for Ukraine. Are these guys like pro-Ukraine or some shit like that?
I thought they weren't.
I guess. Seems that way.
Charities for like the California wildfire situation. We've done charities for U.S. Veterans. We've done charities for the Ukrainians as well. And also where.
Yeah, definitely pro-Ukraine.
So I'm not sure when this was.
Across the area. I think we've even run one for the doctors.
Here, I'll send this to you. I was going to send you a video of Mark Levin talking about how we've got to go for the uranium on Fox News.
Oh, yeah. I did see that too. Yeah, we could play. You could share that as well.
Okay. Here.
All right, these guys are talking about this charity for Ukraine.
No, I'll go ahead. Keep finishing that, though, but I'll put that next.
Next after the retard? Okay.
Well, let's move to the 4D chess strategic analysis.
Oh, here we go. 4D chess strategic. Let's go.
Analysis section. And if you know me, I just love to say 4D
swear to God,
chess.
If he brings
this
up
is America's
China. I swear to God, if he brings up China, I'm going to crash out.
Measured buildup, and it reflects strategic patience in a way with overwhelming air superiority right now striking Iran hard. It's aimed at forcing Iran to choose de-escalation or self-destruction. It's basically two different options at this point is what it looks like. The 31st MEU with its F-35B fighters is the perfect tool for securing key maritime choke points and even doing surgical strikes around the region. Again, I don't think it's a good idea for a lot of Marines to just be sitting on Kaj Island or any other outpost when Iran knows that. Because Iran wouldn't even blink twice about launching ballistic missiles and drones at their own homeland. They don't care. As long as they cause chaos and casualties for the U.S. and help turn the propaganda war and help try to get the narrative in the U.S. that we should fully pull out, that would be their number one objective, to cause chaos there. So only putting the Marines...
They did that already. They did that already. The anti-war sentiment across the entire country has already been obvious. They've completely done that. They've succeeded there. Maybe he hasn't been reading the news. Maybe the guy is living under a rock. Everybody's against this war. It's actually why Trump is going to lose the midterms. Like, it's probably the sealing factor. The Epstein files got him there. This sealed the deal. What the fuck is he talking about?
In positions where they have air supremacy would be my number one focus if I was in charge of any of these operations. But Iranian infrastructure militarily is crumbling, and it looks like the regime is getting increasingly more isolated by the day. Diplomatic pressure has been put on, but also off-ramps seem to be coming out as well. But it looks like Iran getting rid of their proxies, their ballistic missiles, their drones. This is what's giving them the ability to put up such a fight right now. So they think if they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, so if they gave that up, what would happen?
Yeah, you dumbass. It would make this job a lot easier. That's why we're pushing through. That's why we're doing this, because they never gave them up. That's why it's so hard for us. It's like this is like a self-defeating video. He's like cooking himself. He's cooking himself.
Definitely.
Bruh.
Done, and the regime is definitely gone. So likely their mentality is, why would we give up the couple different things that are actually keeping us in power? But the F-35B owning the skies with those Marine recon raiders and all of the different members of the MEU, they're basically those studs in the sky in the fight that they dominate. They're the guys that she told you not to worry about, and they're putting pure strategic, brilliant pressure on the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and I think that's why we're seeing the rhetoric ramp up to level 11 right now. But picture this realistic chain reaction. If the proxies start to escalate attacks on commercial shipping, F-35B Lightning IIs could be focused on striking the proxies themselves along with other Marines in the Marine Expeditionary Unit. I mean, we don't have to use the MEU just against Iran. It could be focused on the proxies and any of those proxies that could also be trying to threaten the Straits of Hormuz.
Where's the 4D
and
chess?
then the F-35.
Where's the 4D chess? He just keeps doing this military LARP. He just keeps doing this glaze of our weapons. Like, where's the 4D chess? Where's the greater strategic benefit of this? How does this serve U.S. economy? How does this serve the U.S. government? How does this give us any more power in the region? What the fuck?
So one of the chess says this guy probably introduced himself as Max Afterburner in real life. Yo, that's facts. Yo.
You know, like, do you know when somebody You know when somebody talks and you can tell just from like their speech pattern and impediment they're retarded? He has that.
Yeah.
It's like the way he talks, you can almost tell he's not smart. He's like, the United States and our army and the F-35 and the B-32, it's going to take over the skies. And it's like his tone doesn't have fluctuation. It's like he's a fucking autistic robot. He sounds so dumb.
Man. Teaming directly with the 31st MEU's 2,200 Marines and their amphibious assault vehicles, they could be used to provide air cover for any surgical strikes to neutralize Iranian naval threats. With a big focus on the naval threats, looking to me kind of being the #1 focus right now, because if the U.S. and the Marine Expeditionary Unit takes down Iran's ability to threaten the Straits of Hormuz, to me that decisively tilts the power balance, protects freedom of navigation in the area, and it shows Iran that they really have no leg to stand on. And at that point, one of the other factions that's probably splitting in the IRGC right now might understand if...
Pause.
Yes, I'm right.
Let's say we do destroy their presence in the Gulf. We take control of the passageway. We get the choke point. We allow ships to pass through. We're fixing a problem we started. Like, hello, the Strait of Hormuz was fine until we started the fucking war. So he's talking about fixing an issue that we started from going to war. So we take the Strait of Hormuz. What ground have we covered? We're back to where we were before the war started. We got the Strait of Hormuz. Oil is cheap. That's where we were in February before you fucking struck Tehran.
Retard.
What the fuck? Who cares? And we're probably not going
they have
to.
Any hope
because they're going to hold on to it with their life.
Incredible, bro. Incredible.
And the next step is from Godfather Mark Levin. He says we've got to get troops on the ground and go underground and take the uranium. So like,
do you have to? You want me to pull? I could pull that up actually.
I have it. I have it here. You can pull it up. I can
you got it. Okay, go ahead. Share it. Go ahead. You want me to share it or do you want to share it?
No, I have it.
Okay, go ahead.
Can see that?
Yep, I got it.
All right. Make this loud. I anticipate it'll be low.
Troops on the ground. He said no troops on the ground. I don't remember that in any campaign speech either. But why would we need troops on the ground?
Pause.
Well, there's a lot of reasons.
Pause. He said no new wars, you fucking idiot. That's what he said. No new wars, which implies no troops on the ground, retard. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Wow. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
And we wouldn't need 300,000 of them. It's this uranium, too. We've got to get the uranium.
Oh, my God.
If it cannot be destroyed, if it cannot be altered, we got to get it. For the reason I just said. You can make dirty bombs, and over time you can still make sophisticated missiles. So you need to get to the uranium.
Where is it? Where is it? Tell us. Where is the uranium? Tell us, Mark.
That's why I'm reading in the paper. We're talking about the 82nd Airborne. We're talking about these various special forces and the various military services and so forth. He's not talking about sending regular army and infantry in by the hundreds of thousands. The men he's talking about, the units he's talking about, they are specialized. And you know what else? I remember from my days in the Reagan administration. Many of them are trained for a moment like this, to try and secure enriched uranium. Many have been trained for moments like this.
Quick, what can I say as a Zionist to calm the United States population?
Yeah.
Don't worry, the Marines know how to handle uranium. Don't worry, they know how to go underground and get uranium. Yeah, okay, shut the fuck up.
Bruh. Yo, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And didn't Trump send all of his like people on True Social to go watch that bullshit?
Yeah. He like flooded it as if it was like some prophetic holy statement.
Dude.
And Mark Levin said he's the best Jewish president. He said that himself.
Yep.
Yeah, so
that now they're going to have to meet some of the U.S.'s demands, and that could cause...
They're not going to meet any of the U.S.'s demands, idiot. Like, they're just not. Okay? They're not going to disarm their proxy. They're not going to stop supporting their proxy. They're not going to get rid of their ballistic program. They're going to disarm their nuclear program.
And here's something to seal the deal really quick. Just take a look at my screen. If you wanted to guarantee that there's not going to be a ceasefire, if there will be, it'll be short-lived, just watch this.
They are decimated right now. They're going to give up nuclear weapons. They're going to give us the nuclear dust. They're going to do everything that we want to do. And you know what? They're going to go on and maybe have a great country again. But if they don't do that, they're not going to have a country.
Well, guess what? They're not going to fucking do that. They never wanted to do that. They're not going to do it now. You had the chance to make it happen somehow. Obama kind of had it going. You sabotaged any potentiality of that being a reality. Now they'll never fucking do it.
They're not even going to have a country.
Yeah, well, that's why he talks about regime change, right? We're going to change the leaders.
Incredible. Yeah, we'll finish off with Maxter after retard.
Internal fracture, assassinations within the regime itself, and just show a full breakdown of the actual IRGC itself. But the Marine Expeditionary Unit, the F-35B Marine Recon, to me, this is unbeatable American synergy in action, showing exactly what the Marines could do in or surrounding Iran at this point. Very versatile force. So there you go, guys. Bottom line, Operation Epic Fury, day 30.
All right. I think we've proven that this guy's a moron. Every time I watch Max Afterburner, I get stupider.
Yeah. And meanwhile, while he's saying
budget
this,
and stuff on it, you just charge.
Did you see what I put on Twitter really quick before we do that?
Yeah, go ahead. You want to share screen, or you want me to?
I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Take a look at this. Okay. So it cost me almost $100 to fill a full tank. It used to be like $65, $70, man. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's where we are.
Yo.
In terms of gas prices, shooting up exponentially.
So did your shit almost double?
Yeah, it doubled. It absolutely doubled. At times it used to be like 63, 64. Now it's almost $90 a tank, you know?
Wow.
Of course, that's for premium fuel, but anybody that was pumping regular fuel,
where
like
would
maybe
you go,
$30 a tank, now it's probably going to be like 60, 70, so on and so forth.
What are we sitting at here? It looks like, okay, Brent is sitting at 107. US is sitting at 101. This is horrible, bro.
Yeah.
Chat, yo, anything over $100 per barrel is fucking insane, dude.
And I'm telling you,
really
man, ground invasion is going to skyrocket that price.
Yeah.
Once the Houthis get involved, they go into the Red Sea. That's when oil prices, I think, are going to get close to 200. They're going to flirt with the 200 mark. I have just a couple chats here.
Yeah, my brother's channel, by the way, guys. Go ahead.
I only have one chat, actually, so we're good. Ivan says, hey, Ryad, I'm doing the engine swap, and you asked about it. It's a... Oops, my page froze. 1 second. 2016 Cadillac CTS V Sport. I'm only halfway done with the swaps. Taking me longer because I'm doing it after work. Tell Myron I said what's up. Hey, thank you for the $20, bro. God bless you. And good luck on your build, man. That doesn't sound like an easy swap. That's a complicated engine. Milkow says, W Ryad. Thank you, WU. Appreciate it. Okay, go ahead, bro. Sorry.
Here, let's go back to the enforcer retards.
Yeah.
Where did you say again, old boy? Santa Barbara?
Yeah, Santa Barbara.
Politics aside, just talking about like the place, it probably would be somewhere up in the Pacific Northwest, kind of like near the area of the Olympia National Park.
All right, bro. What the fuck are these niggas doing looking at maps of the United States, bro? Like, with 60,000 retards?
We're literally showing you gas prices. We're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking about the Red Sea, the Houthis. We're talking about the Prince Sultan Air Base. Saudi Arabia is getting involved, and then they're talking about whatever the hell. Yeah.
Fucking retards. Let's
Careful
go on.
Where you get your news, people. Careful where you get your damn news.
Seriously. You want to jump in here? So
it's an X space.
You guys, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Pretty much with fucking brain rot, man. Holy
that's
shit.
Kind of everything. Just to wrap up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Tehran is under heavy fire. Power is out in a lot of the places. They've hit back desalination plants in Kuwait and then probably other Gulf countries soon. The 10-day extension is nearing the end. I think the last day is April 6th, so we got another week. But Trump may just foil that and attack at any point in the next few days. Could be today, could be tomorrow, whatever it is. 50,000 Marines in the region, and Kaj Island will probably be the first target if we can secure and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which will prove to be the most difficult step, and that's going to have to be the first one. So that's kind of a nice little wrap-up as to where we are.
How much longer can you stay, by the way?
I got time, man. Let's keep going.
Okay. All right. Let me jump. You want to jump on a Twitter space here and see what they're talking about?
Like another hour I got. Yeah, let's jump in here.
All right. Let me see here what's going on. All right. I asked for a mic. Also, while we have this, let me go ahead and pull this up real quick too. Let's go to Reroom, see what's happened in the past 24 hours. Okay. This came out 53 minutes ago, so this is nice and recent, by the way. Give me 1 sec, chat. Okay, so here we go. So day 30 recap. Okay, number one, Iran says the United States has until March 30th, 12 p.m. Tehran time to condemn the bombings of Iranian university. If it does not, Iran will carry out strikes against multiple American universities in the Middle East. So what's the current time in Tehran? 7:38. So in about 5 hours, 4.5 hours.
May wake up to some big news. We'll see.
Yeah. So that's 7:30 in the morning right now over there. Okay, next. Trump's border peace seems irrelevant amid the Iranian war, said Dimitri. Yeah, that's kind of true, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It is kind of border peace is a joke.
Yeah, it is.
It should be really bored of peace, like niggas bored of the peace, idiot. A second U.S. Aerial refueler has made an emergency landing in the past 2 days. The first landed in the UK yesterday, the second landed in Israel early this morning. Okay, so clearly they got warded off or spooked about something. Next, the European, and just so you guys know, the Chinese and the Russians, there's some speculation that the Russians are the ones that shared that info that allowed the Iranians to strike the Sultan Air Base and destroy that E3 radar plane.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
did you hear about that too, that it was Russian intelligence?
Yeah. I heard that. I read that somewhere, but that's kind of been the story since the beginning, that the Russians are giving them intelligence advances as to where to strike. That's why Iran has been so precise in their strikes. They haven't just been hitting anything. They're hitting like hotels in Dubai, random buildings. It's not for no reason. It's because they're getting heads up in advances that there's either key Israeli or American intelligence personnel there. And they probably eliminated a few, something that we haven't admitted, but we will eventually.
Oh, I got a mic now. Hold on. Let me unmute this real quick.
Section of Gaza. They knew that would necessitate a response from Iran.
Are you in the space?
Here, let me join.
Yeah, join up.
You know, the invasion and destruction of Gaza. And I assume that the US is trying to break some sort of a response from Iran. Like the population in Gwadar are ethnically Baloches, and there's a sizable population in Iran. And I assume that the US is trying to broker some sort of a deal with the Kurds or, whatever, to try and get some sort of insurrection into Iran. But if you consider that like Iran was the cornerstone of the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative in Central or Western Asia, and they'd signed that 25-year development cooperation agreement, and then, I think it's something like 45% of Chinese energy imports originate
not to travel
in the
through
Gulf,
Yemeni waters. Yeah, we know why.
We know why. Like, is this like...
the Iranian ambassador in Lebanon is refusing to leave the country despite expulsion notice. Shit. Iranian ambassador tried to kick him out of Lebanon. For those of you that don't know, Hezbollah is like not really like a full-on state actor. They're kind of like a paramilitary group that like works alongside the government, but they're not really the real Lebanese government. And obviously Lebanese government is mad because Hezbollah has been activated and they're getting bombed by the Israelis because of it. So there's a lot of internal strife and political fighting between the Lebanese government and Hezbollah, right? Like the Hezbollah looks at the Lebanese government as being cucks to Israel, and the Lebanese government looks at Hezbollah as bringing in unnecessary conflict. Shout out to I Step On You for the gifted subs and the MD427. Guys, if you're brokies in the chat, there's a lot of you guys in here that are brokies in the chat, just say, I put the fries in the bag and somebody might gift you a sub, okay? Kuwait's authorities indicate...
Did you say something to me, bro? I'm sorry, I had you muted for like a couple seconds because I was...
No, I didn't.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Kuwait's authorities indicate that 10 of their soldiers were wounded after an Iranian strike on a military position. Israel plans to propose the establishment of U.S. bases on Israeli soil, aiming to relocate other regional bases and build new facilities, according to the Israeli Channel 12. This comes after reports indicating that 13 American bases were rendered uninhabitable following Iranian attacks. Well.
They destroyed them.
Well.
They destroyed them.
Well. I mean, it's kind of like me and you called it, that the Gulf states wouldn't let them rebuild their fucking facilities after this shit.
Yep.
It's almost like we called it, huh?
This is gonna, again, we literally said, and we'll be vindicated again, so I'm not even worried in regards to this prediction. What does one with common sense expect to happen after this is all said and done with? Do you think that these Gulf countries, and this is pressing on the fact, if we can eradicate the IRGC, if we can destroy the IRGC and plant a completely new leadership in Iran, then the Gulf countries will probably come back to the table and build these bases back up. But you got to understand something that a lot of people aren't even mentioning. Here's the problem now. Let's say Trump pulls out of this war, which it seems like he kind of wants to do. He just wants to show face and look like he covered some ground. But let's say Trump pulls out, the IRGC still exists. The Gulf countries and their issue is still unsolved. And so that might be a motivation for the United States to stay fully plunged in this conflict, so when we pull out, we can guarantee security again to the region. Because if we pull out and the IRGC still has any sort of military capability, then we can never guarantee security in that region again. That might be a surefire reason to make us finish this, because we're going to go, damn, we can't pull out. There's so many loose ends now. Now Saudi's scared. Now Kuwait. Now Bahrain. They know their desalination plants could be a target, as well as all the military assets. I mean, we just opened up so many issues that are probably going to force us to just stay in this conflict, because if we don't address the regime change problem now, see, regime was not a problem before. We made it a problem. The IRGC wasn't hurting anybody. Now they are. So we created another problem. Go ahead.
You know what else? This tells me the fact that Israel is planning to build U.S. bases on Israeli soil. That tells me right then and there, they know they're getting kicked out the Gulf.
Yep. 100%.
They know they're getting kicked out the Gulf. It's happening, bro. Literally what me and you said. Because two options. Either A, you destroy the Ayatollah and the clerics and the entire infrastructure and put the Shah in on a friendly government, or face getting expelled from all the Gulf states, because now you having military bases on their soil directly puts them in danger. So they cannot afford to house you anymore.
Yep.
So, dude, this is literally, I think this is them kind of hedging their bets like, okay, we might not be able to fucking actually do a regime change. What's the backup? Hey, we'll let you have bases in Israel. Which, to be honest with you, is kind of weird. How the fuck did we go all this time without having a base in Israel?
I thought we did have one. Did we not?
Not really.
Yeah. Is it kind of loose, a gray area like the Saudi ones?
It's got like it's like a strange,
I mean,
it's a weird gray area, yeah.
Yeah, even then, and that's the thing. Now we've got so many issues, and this is why this is such a difficult, complex issue to understand. Now the Gulf countries are like invested in the war to some degree because of Strait of Hormuz. Now they're realizing like all their oil is traveling through this choke point that Iran can just shut down whenever the fuck they feel like, but not even because they feel like it, they have to use it as a weapon to defend themselves. So it's just more issues upon more issues. And no matter what, if we don't actually achieve regime change here, we lost, because our Gulf partners are gone. Now we got to put bases in Israel, and we're going to still have the same investments from Qatar, from Saudi Arabia. How's MBS going to feel? They're going to look to China and Russia.
Well, they might pull out of some of these investments, bro.
Yeah, they may. They absolutely may. And that might not even be. That might not even be out of. That might not even be out of anger or dismay. It might be because they've lost that much money. Hello, if these desalination plants get hit, you know how much money they're going to have to pull to fix a civilian situation, as well as the fact that they're losing so much money from not be able to export, primarily from what I'm hearing, to Asia. So it's like a multitude of things. And again, we haven't even gotten to the Red Sea part. If the Houthis cut off that choke point in the Red Sea, again, that's another 10 to 12% of world oil export. So 20% is compromised. How about 12%? Above that, that's going to be 30%. You don't think gas prices are going to jump even more? You don't think crude oil is going to go above 120? It's going to sit well above 120. It's going to hover there. And 120, according to the experts, is where it's catastrophic. Like, that's where we've reached a legitimate emergency. And that's where countries will run out of food, fuel, especially the third world countries, like right away. And so we'll have, international pandemonium. We'll have a big issue across the entire world. But
insane. All right, power outages reported to Tehran and Karaj after U.S.-Israeli strikes on energy infrastructure. Electricity has been restored in the majority of the affected areas. Okay, so the energy is back up, unlike what dumbass enforcer was saying. Remember this retard? Oh, hold on, not this. This is yours. Make sure to like my brother's video, by the way, guys. He's live right now. Okay, well, we got 1,400 ninjas over here watching him. Make sure we should be at well over 1,000 fucking likes. He's still on YouTube for you guys, so you guys got that convenience, because a lot of you guys aren't on Kick and Rumble. So make sure to like the video at least, because I know a lot of you guys prefer to watch on YouTube. So let's see what these idiots are talking about.
Disappointed in their education and their ignorance. And
yeah, they were talking about the thing losing power. Okay, let's see here. U.S. government officials and Wall Street analysts are starting to consider the prospect that oil price might surge to an unprecedented 200 per barrel, according to Bloomberg. Ryad, you're right, as like you said.
Pandemonium.
Brent crude oil futures rose above 115 per barrel at the open. Yep, I saw that earlier today too. And guys, stay tuned. Anytime we get close to $120, Trump starts panicking. Anytime we get to 120, look for him to post something on True Social, say some stupid shit. That's what I've noticed is like 120. Once we get into 120, he starts saying erratic stuff on True Social.
Yep.
Iran has struck a desalination plant in Kuwait with 1 death reported and significant damage caused. That's not good for Kuwait. And then lastly here, Iran has attacked Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar with confirmed impacts in the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. And as always, bro, they're putting major pain on the fucking Gulf states, dude.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I'm going to unmute myself here. Do you want to listen from my stream, and then I guess your people can hear from my stream, and then you mute your side?
Well, if we both speak, then I'm going to have to mute you on Discord and just listen to you through the space. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, whatever you prefer. Here,
Okay,
I'll unmute it here on this side.
China, after October 7th, they made a lot of noises about how they were on the Palestinian side. Yes, they wound down certain dual-use
Always,
technology, but
They're
they basically kept their so they're a
Are you on the panel,
major
Riyad?
trading partner
Joining right
for
now.
Israel still to
Okay.
this day. It's not like Turkey. Yes, they wound down certain dual-use technology, but they basically kept their so they're a major trading partner for Israel still to this day. It's not like Turkey, who actually really wound down all economic trade to a substantial degree with Israel. And so China is not going to try to cut off ties with Israel after this. They want to be able to keep everybody in the fold. However, I did note that right in the beginning of this year, China, which had a long-term cyber relationship with Israel and actually brought a lot of Israeli technology for surveillance in, especially in terms of their civilian programs, they actually, in the very beginning of 2026, banned imports of American and Israeli
come on over, guys.
cyber technology. So that to me sort of was also some kind of China prepared for this. They stocked up in 1.3 billion something oil barrels of reserve. They don't.
I'll read chats really quick. Okay, so we've got. Sorry guys, I didn't see chats earlier. Like the video. Okay. Gabriel says, "Yo, Ryad, Myron, hold it down, brothers. What do you think of Anna Kasparian's views?" Sorry, Myron's in the space right now. She's been going viral, standing on business against Israel. She's been great. She's been great. Ever since the Gaza conflict, she's been pretty good on this. All the people on the left have been good on this, man. A lot of them have. More than the right. The right wing has been wrong on this. The left wing has been right. Ahmed Kaya says, oil prices equals high logistic costs. Doesn't mean high prices and everything. Oil facilities aren't things that can simply be rebuilt. It takes years. Yeah, exactly. That translates to groceries. That translates to everything else in between. Thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. You're exactly right. Perfect. C-Band's lifestyle. This is World War III, no lie. Yeah, it is. It is. They just don't want to say that. Guys, this is World War III. They just don't want to say that, but that's what this is. This is a regional conflict. I'll say this here. I'll leave it at this, actually. I'll put this at the cutoff. If this lasts more than 3 months, World War III. Because it's been short so far, but if Iran can stretch it to November, yeah, I mean, bro, what else would you call it? Okay. And it's going to get worse.
There were a list of sanctions in September of 2025.
Sorry, guys, you'll hear it right now.
Writer basically failed, like dramatically. There were a list of sanctions in September of 2025 that went through specifically against Chinese-based like suppliers. There's a couple that I remember in particular: the Shenzhen trading company, the Hubei Chica Industrial Company, and there were like 4 or 5 other ones that specifically were sending coordinated bulk shipments of chemical precursors that are used in like manufacturing ballistic missiles and ballistic missile motors and explosives that were listed and sanctioned by the U.S. for specifically being sent to Nasrallah, the Houthis specifically. And I think that's an example of the U.S. and how they've set like it's been a long story of sort of like this, I guess you can say Cold War. Maybe that's what you were saying earlier, Black Swan. It's been sort of like a Cold War-ish sort of economic sort of exchange of, I don't want to say aggression, but for lack of a better term, I'll say that. And it's because not just Iran, but the axis of resistance in itself have been hugely like, look, I'm going to be honest, the more China supports the axis of resistance, the merrier for me. Like they can give Hezbollah whatever it wants for I care. I don't care if China gives Iran a nuke delivered in a package with a bow at the top of it. Like I literally wouldn't care. I'd be fine. I'd be happy about it. But the point is, therefore, I don't think that Israel is necessarily in America. I don't think they're necessarily in on it per se. I don't think that they're willfully ushering in multipolarity. I actually think quite a bit of what's going on is it's like the last gasp sort of effort to prevent it from setting forth, if you will. Like I think that's
I
the
agree.
entire goal.
100% inevitable.
No, not Israel. America maybe, but Israel is definitely. I mean, Netanyahu and Putin have been closer than any other two leaders in the world. If you go back the last 15 years, in a very deep kind of manner. And by the way, China and Israel engaged in a.
Yo, bro, I thought this was Ryan Dawson. Does this not sound like Ryan Dawson?
In the spring of 2000, basically in the run-up to 9/11, and penetrated the nuclear bomb
what do you think
squad
about
of the
America,
Department of Energy in a conjunction. So Israel has always been this back door to the multipolar New World Order. Note that on the day that Trump allegedly won another election with a lot of funny things happening in swing states, basically you have Elon Musk announcing a new world order, and then you had Putin at Valdai basically talking about a novel multipolar world order. Trump has been a Russian asset since probably the 80s at the very latest, and then over the decades he was basically cultivated as a Russian asset via all of the Russian organized crime that was washed through properties all around the world. So this is a long-term setup. Trump is basically an asset of these kinds of multipolar world order desires, and Netanyahu's called KGB on the Israeli streets because a lot of people know that.
Wait, that
Wait,
Los
so do you
Alamos,
think
where did that come from? Like I've never heard of that before. That China and Israel attacked Los Alamos?
Like a cyber.
They
a cyber
stole
attack,
the
or-
it was a Hugin attack, so it was like half human intelligence and half signals intelligence, and they penetrated. If you go back and look at there was a big fire in New Mexico in the spring of 2000. The only place I've seen this documented is by the same guy who wrote the book about Robert Maxwell, Israel super spy.
Was this
Gordon
Taiwan
Thomas.
involved, or like was this?
No, China. This was organized between Mossad and Chinese intelligence.
Chinese
And they
Communist
mapped it
Party,
out actually in
Chinese
China.
Communist Party intelligence was involved in
like
this.
8200 or something.
Yes.
I've got to look that up.
Yeah. Well, Mossad Unit 8200, and then Chinese intelligence, and it's in Seeds of Fire.
So when was this? This was in 2000.
Yes, and what they stole was. You remember, this was then blamed on Wenho Lee, the Chinese American scientist.
Okay, no, so he's Taiwanese though. Like and obviously, like it's the same country, but different like forces within. Like Taiwan,
No,
the
that's who
opposition
it was
party.
blamed on. That's not who did it. That's not. That's what I'm saying.
It was KMT assets probably. He was probably.
Yeah, I can hear you.
KMT
Go ahead.
Asset,
Yeah, you want to
No,
look at this video
he
real
was not
quick?
the one who
I don't know if
did
you
it.
saw this.
Yeah, I'll mute these niggas.
4
Go ahead.
shootings in Daytona Beach. I just wanted to get your reaction to this. I
Yeah,
don't
let's
know.
do it.
I would imagine you to react to this on stream, but maybe you didn't see it. You were actually, yeah, maybe when it went
Let's do
viral,
it.
you were in Ohio. Yeah, take a look here. All right, so
I got a big screen on my
shootings-
side.
4 shootings, massive unruly crowds turned Daytona Beach spring break into a weekend. Our public safety nightmare as thousands fled the sand while police from multiple agencies rushed in to restore order. So this is on March 15th.
Thanks for the 5 gifted, bro. And then Barcelona, wouldn't it be prudent for Iran to have already booby trapped every square inch of the Kaj Island and the hill? They probably have booby trapped it, and the Strait too, bro. Which is why this is retarded. We're going into an ambush more than likely.
And we're giving them so much time to do it. See, when
Yeah,
Trump does these Truth Social posts, it's to fix the oil market, and it's also to give the Israelis the heads up on what they want to do that the U.S. doesn't want to claim responsibility for. And then it's also, I would imagine, just to further the planning. But I think Iran is they have to be ready. Okay,
right.
look at this. This is
I'm ready
funny.
when you are.
On the Daytona and you see this bullshit like this, bro. What the f you running from, bro? Like, oh my god.
Bro.
I went off about this on stream. Hold on, I got another one. This one's gonna be.
Bro.
I went
Yo,
off about
what
this on
the
stream. I
fuck,
said black
man?
people literally can't have anything.
Bro, they can't.
They can't have shit.
Nigga,
man.
what? Yo, what the fuck, man?
I said I get angry because I'm synonymous with this shit. Like people are gonna see me and think this is
Yeah,
like, hey,
you're like
that's what
that.
he does.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what this guy does.
Look at this one. This is like, I guess from Daytona Beach too. Just Imagine you're the person who's filming this.
Okay.
This is fucking Ryad Central, bro. Yo, would you feel safe here, bro?
Hell no. Yeah, nah, man.
Yeah, bro. And I said this on stream.
Yo, around the blocks, I can't relax, man.
Yo, bro, I said this on stream. I said, like, bro, one, it's annoying that I'm synonymous with the shit, but two, it's like every single time there's a large congregation of black people, violence is guaranteed to ensue. It's like every single time. It's like a 1-2 fucking punch, bro. But,
bro, it's like it literally you can't avoid it. It's like it's just what they do, bro. It's insane. Yeah. And I'm not surprised. Like I always say, you go to a club and it's all blacks, there's gonna be a shooting. Yeah. Go to a fucking event like that, someone's gonna pull a gun out. Oh, nigga, what'd you say? And then they're just like, you know what I mean? They start blasting.
Bro, I was talking about it on stream. New Haven, Connecticut, where I went to school. If you go to downtown, anywhere from Thursday night to Saturday night, any of those 3 nights from Thursday to Saturday, you literally are risking your life. There's like a shooting every other weekend. Niggas fighting on the corner, bitches pulling weave on this street, police everywhere. Let out is crazy. Everybody's drunk. It's just crazy, bro. It's like every single spring break, there's always some sort of situation like this. Miami's bad too, though. Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
I know they kind of have that issue as well, at least in some parts. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I went crazy about that on stream. You got to watch it. It was like I did like an hour segment on it because,
bro,
every single time, bro.
You can't have nothing, bro.
Every single time.
Like they don't know how to, man. Niggas fuck it up for everybody.
Yeah, no, I went sick. But no, I just wanted to kind of show you that. I thought it was funny. Take a quick break. But what are they talking about in space? Talking about...
I'll unmute it real quick.
Yeah, let's listen in. Because he didn't give me the mic. It's fine. So I'm just banking on you to say something.
Oh, they closed it. They ended it.
Oh, they ended it?
They ended it, yeah. Looks like they ended it.
Mario's not on, right? Mario's usually on during normal time. Normal hours and shit.
The war spaces like that anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of the long and short of it, though. We covered everything. You went over the updates with Rerum Novarum. The big thing is, you know, Iran hit that desalination plan. I think that's the biggest thing we're going to see. That might have a ripple effect in terms of response. That's going to give us some big headlines to work with in the next few days that we'll be reporting on. But yeah, that's kind of it. Do you have any chats or anything you wanted to finish up on? Are you going to stay on?
I'll stay on a little bit longer. Yeah. I'm thinking what we're gonna do. I might cover some true crime shit next here.
Okay.
And then cover some more of the news. I guess also they're talking about like Kaj Patel got hacked or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Hear about?
You know, and like that stuff to me is just sus because, and I don't want to be a conspirator, but it's like just the timing is so perfect to kind of take the heat off of this war because this war. I was saying the other day. If you try to look up anything in regards to the Epstein files, by the way, when this war started, the Clintons testified right after, if I'm not mistaken, in my timeline, no one cared. And so this has been really convenient for Trump to get the heat off of the DOJ in regards to these files that, you know, Pam Bondi was grilled about several times. But I think the Kaj Patel thing is also really weird. Like he had like an Israeli flag in his like WhatsApp profile or something like that. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that. I'm looking right now. They got Tucker Carlson put out a clip of leaked footage of Netanyahu interrogation from the police. We can react to that. You want to see that?
Oh yeah, let's pull that up.
All right, let me pull it up real fast. I've seen the BB files. I'm surprised that he's like publishing it just now. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
Give me 1 sec. Let me. And guys, just so y'all know, he's been facing these charges since like 2015, 2016, bro. Bro's been ducking this shit for like almost a decade.
הכל פועל. טוב, ברשותך אדוני ראש הממשלה, על פי הכללי מודיע לך שאתה נחקר חקירה פלילית, אין אתה חייב לומר דבר, אולם כל שתאמר מתועד ואסור לשמש ראיה נגדך בבית המשפט.
So they're basically reading him his rights in Hebrew, chat. Everything he says can be used against them in a court of law. That's what all that is. And this corruption, guys, that he's like facing is like for taking cigars and other gifts from like his rich donors. These are leaked police interrogation videos investigating it.
Nothing concentrates the mind like the prospect of being hanged. With Netanyahu, nothing concentrates his mind more than the sound of the prison gate.
Now, I don't think the charges he's facing aren't like death offenses. It's like corruption and bribery is what it is, basically.
Yeah, which he's been facing for a while, and a lot of people made the argument too. We spoke about October 7th earlier, but that was part of the reason as to why maybe he just let it happen or they didn't do anything, so he could have like some emergency leadership authority, kind of put off these impending charges. But yeah, it's like I'm always just dumbfounded. I'm kind of astounded at the fact that like he's actually being persecuted in some sort of manner. Like they're actually making an official facing of this. You know, I would think that the way that ethno-state operates, they just kind of let him do whatever he needs to do. So kind of funny to see. But he's highly unpopular amongst the populace in Israel. You know, not a lot of people like him. Yeah.
And I showed this yesterday when Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were addressing the Israeli people after the hostage releases. They were all cheering for Trump, but they didn't cheer for Netanyahu because they know that he was just using the hostages as like a political ploy to stay in power. Because he had chances to get the hostages back, but he just didn't take those opportunities because he wanted the war to keep going.
He dragged the war on. He allowed October 7th to happen. The Hannibal Directive, I'm sure a lot of people in Israel know about that. You know, he sabotaged his own soldiers, let them get kidnapped or let them really get killed so they weren't kidnapped. So, you know, he's done a bunch of things and everything else in his history in the 90s and shit. It's kind of like known among the Israeli population.
Absolutely. And also, just so you guys know, make sure to like my brother's video, guys. Smash the like button on here. Okay. If you guys are watching, open up the tab and support. Let's get him to 1,000 likes here. Also, I think the Uncensored America video, guys, drops.
Is that tomorrow? Yeah.
Did they not? Hold on. It's supposed to drop tomorrow at 12. It's not scheduled yet. Okay. I do have the link here somewhere. It's still uploading, but I can. I'll drop the link for you guys here soon, but it is going to drop here tomorrow at 12. Sean was able to get it uploaded, but we'll go back.
Slammed behind his back.
He says, you're asking me delusional questions. This is Netanyahu. Trying to get to the bottom of my cup and ashtray. This is preposterous and insane. You're trying to incriminate the Prime Minister on nonsense.
So everything that he has done over the last 5 years was so focused on that sound of the gate potentially slammed behind his back.
The current corruption investigation Netanyahu began in 2016. Yeah, I told you guys it's been a decade. I don't think he's going to jail, chat.
No.
After this is all said and done, he's not going to jail, bro. He's going to get a pardon. He's going to get a pardon. He's not going to go to jail. They're going to look at him as like the necessary evil that took all the fucking slings and arrows to protect Israel. That's how he's going to be remembered. Because though people might not agree with how he's doing things, they agree with what he's doing. Right? They absolutely agree that the war needs to be done. They agree he needs to attack Iran, he needs to attack Lebanon, etc. They might not agree with how he does it, but they all agree that he's doing it.
And to play devil's advocate, the way he does it is probably most effective.
Yeah, and both sides agree with him politically, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Even the progressives of Israel agree with his methodology here. So
why are you guys persecuting me? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I'm innocent. Why are you targeting the Prime Minister? Is this regulation? I thought this was a democracy. The only democracy in the Middle East, actually.
Yeah, that Netanyahu impersonation is bang on, bro.
It's decent. It's decent.
No, it's good, bro. It's really good. A few euros, Your Honor, the Prime Minister, and then we will continue the investigation. Just so I understand, these are the suspicions that you raise. In this specific investigation or in any investigation? But there could be other investigations. And guys, the reason why I'm reading it out is because I know a lot of people listen and they might not be watching. So I'm reading it out so they can understand. Cop says that's correct.
The police, because it was a prime minister.
Bro, that Israeli accent is crazy, bro.
The police. Prime minister. There's always like a or a. It's somewhat similar to French, but just far more harsh, I'd say.
Yeah. It's just weird.
Very throaty. Pause.
Pause.
And they knew that it will be very high profile. They investigated everybody. I mean, hundreds of people. Some of the witnesses were interrogated twice.
Here, I'll take a quick piss. I'll let it keep playing, or is that cool?
Yeah, let it keep playing. Go ahead.
You sure? All right.
Yeah, I won't be able to pause it.
3 times, 4 times.
I'll be quick.
You have a rare opportunity to see the most powerful people in Israel in interrogation rooms, dealing with questions that were never been asked. What did you give? What did you get? How many times you met him? And you see people in the most tense part of their life.
יכול להיות שכתבו האלה להזמין אותו לארוחה, אנחנו משלמים תמיד שאנחנו נותנים איתם.
למה תמיד אתם משלמים?
שאל אותם. כל החברים שלו אשרים.
אז זה מאוד חברות שלכם בגלל שיש לכם כסף?
וואלה, אם זה יוצא לאמיתי, הרגת אותי.
Get me a Cohiba Renegades girl. That's what he asked for. $1,100 per box of 10. Wow.
מה שתרצו ניתן, אני לא... אבל לא יודע אם יש משהו שהוא פלילי עכשיו, אני לא... בדיוק, זאת השאלה, אם יש משהו, אנחנו בודקים עבירות פלילי. היה שם סוג של תעשייה שעד היום... שעוסקת במה? שעוסקת בוא נקרא לזה מתנות יקרות ערך, שאתם בכלל לא בכיוון, משהו אחר לגמרי. ממי למי? בלי להגיד מה המתנות ואני אדבר על תקופות. מיליונרים כבדים לשרה וביבי.
Netanyahu, he keeps around him, almost in every part in the world, someone like a sugar daddy. Everything you need that is not supported by the country, he will do it for you. But when those guys has interest in Israel, business interest or some other interest, then it became very, very problematic.
Problematic.
קיבלת איזושהי טובת הנאה אתה או מי מבני משפחתך בעשור האחרון מאנשי עסקים בעלי הון.
אם קיבלתי טובת הנאה, קיבלתי דברים מחברים קרובים.
I received things from close friends, from close acquaintances, like cigars and things like that.
אבל רק בידידים קרובים, זה לא טוב.
Sorry about that. I'll let you keep going.
But only from close friends. That's not an illegal gift.
From what I've been told.
Yep.
I think Arnold Milchan was one of the people that gave him quite a bit of money. The fucking Mossad spy.
Yep.
Mr. JFK funder. He funded the 1991 or 1992 famous movie.
Did he?
Yeah, he funded it. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
He funded it. Well, you know what, bro? We should watch that. We should watch that movie on OSS or something one day.
Yeah, we should. We've definitely got to do some stuff on because man, you know, I'm nerfed really bad on this platform. Like we really can't do what we would want to do. You know, we play it very safe. If only you guys knew.
Yeah, if only you niggas knew. It's okay though. We gotta protect the Matrix a little bit.
Yeah.
The police ask him, please tell us, who are these close friends, those you define as close friends? And what did you get from them? Very close friends, he says. That I have known for many years. I have quite a few of those. Oh, we know. The question is who?
If you wanted to make a movie about a fabulously wealthy Israeli entrepreneur who strikes it rich in Hollywood after a successful career as
Here he is right here, Arnon Milchan.
an international
Fucking spy for the Mossad. You know, especially with their unacknowledged nuclear program, it's fucking some shit out of a movie, dude.
arms dealer, an undercover operative for his government, Well, there's only one person to produce it, Arnon Milchan. It's his life story.
Arnon Milchan is
billionaire Israeli.
It's extraordinary story. Arnon Milchan is an Israeli guy, rise to fame by becoming an Hollywood producer.
Congratulations.
He produced some of the biggest hits and even won Oscars. And he became a tycoon.
Gucci, Gauguin, Blue Period, Picasso.
He is based in the US, but he always kept a really good contacts in Israel. Mostly and especially with the Prime Minister. Everybody knows that if you want to speak with the Prime Minister, go to Arnon. If you need something from the Prime Minister, go to Arnon.
Prime Minister?
This relationship, it's worth a lot.
Okay. Now the police ask him, why can't the prime minister buy things for himself? I'm asking you because you were the one. I'm asking you because you were the one asked to buy it. Because when he asks, this is Arnon responding, and he's the prime minister. How do you say it? I need to help the country. AKA Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want to spend his own money, bro. How is it helping the country? Is it easier to run a country with a bottle of champagne? You know what, bro? What's Netanyahu's net worth, bro? It actually has me curious.
That can't be real publicly. No way.
Let's see. As of March 2026, Benjamin Netanyahu's estimated net worth is approximately 13 million. Hell no, that's way more than that. Longest serving in Israel's history, his wealth is derived from his prime ministerial salary, personal investments, and inheritance. Nigga, inherited money? Okay. He receives a salary as prime minister, which is roughly $19,000 per month. Really?
He was born here too.
Yeah. No, he went to MIT here too. He's not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
As of 2019, Netanyahu was ranked as the fourth wealthiest politician in Israel, with his fortune at that time estimated at 50 million shekels. Roughly 1.43 million.
Like, political figures are never going to have a real net worth that's publicly facing. By the way, just really quick, Nino says, can you do a podcast with the Duran? Would be fire. I've heard of him before. He's huge. The Duran, he does like political stuff. Yeah, maybe one day for sure. Wouldn't be opposed to it. Salary?
Yeah, I'm looking at his salary right now.
Does that say?
It says he receives a gross monthly of.
Oh, okay, 16,000 a month.
Yeah, this is part of a high income bracket for state officials, often adjusted annually. So annual salary estimated around 170 to 173,000 based on recent data from Wikipedia. He probably makes more than that, bro.
Fucking Netanyahu, broken Yahoo. What the fuck? Niggas ain't paying him shit.
Yeah, the president doesn't make that much either, bro. The president makes like
half a million or something like that, right?
Yeah. The government notoriously doesn't pay anybody shit, but they said that he has inheritances. Hold on, what the hell inheritance from where? Hold on, bro.
Might be onto something here. Let me see.
Inheritance from who? Information regarding specific inheritance not detailed. Results focus on a political career. His father, as a scholar, family history, noting his father immigrated to Palestine.
Hotspot Loop, thank you so much for the membership. I don't know if I said that earlier. Thank you, bro.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's way more than I don't believe it's only 13 million, bro. He's worth way more than that.
No, it's way more. It's way more. And I mean, he's Israeli. So for it to be publicly available, pretty difficult, you know, but all these politicians, donors, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Go ahead. I'm looking into it because I'm curious too, but you can keep playing.
All right. Yeah, that's better. You look into it while I do this. All right. So if you wouldn't have given him the gifts, would you? I give gifts. So what? It doesn't impact my financial life. Of course not. You're a fucking billionaire. Then I ask him, did you give other gifts? To other politicians like you did to Netanyahu? He said the answer is no.
This case, the facts are really kind of simple. The Prime Minister and his wife, Sarah, are getting gifts worth $250,000. They really like the good life. And on the other side, Netanyahu did so many favors for Arnold Milchan. Some people think what Arnold Milchan really did was bribe. He was bribing the Prime Minister.
Bribe.
What he really did was bribe.
And this was the allegation.
Government officials are not allowed to take gifts, period. Period. This is corruption.
Oh, if only it was that simple.
And we sent a president, a minister of finance, we sent them all to prison for violating that principle, that nobody is above the law.
The previous Prime Minister, Mr. Olmert, he was investigated for corrupt deals that were much, much less than the state indicted Netanyahu for, and was sent to jail. So it's not something vague for Netanyahu. I'm sure he has a real fear that in the end, he will send to jail. He might be 80 years old when it will happen, but it still can happen.
הדבר הזה, כשיש לו את התעשייה הציבורית, התקשורתית,
this is a whole industry trying to incriminate me. They're all working together. I didn't know it before, but I know now. The media creates chaos. Oh, the indulgence of the Netanyahu couple, living the life of emperors. This is nonsense.
It starts with a flawed character. It's his mindset. I deserve it, and I can get away with it. And it seemed to escalate with the years. It mushroomed into something much more comprehensive.
Does the sum seem reasonable to you? I don't know. I can't tell you. Don't know. No. As a gift, is it a lot or a little? It was given all at once. I guess it's not small. But if it was spread out over the years, sir, this is valued at tens of thousands of shekels each year. I'm telling you what I didn't check. It didn't add all up. My apologies. I'm a bit impatient because it's pissing me off. The whole situation of us asking you questions? No, the lengths to which Bibi has dragged me. That man's ruined my life. He knows I work hard, and he says if I can sweeten the life of my brother who serves the state of Israel when the public is critical and when he's being pursued by the media and the police, he said, quote, maybe to give him some joy in his life, I'll send him some cigars, end quote. So this is a crime? How terrible.
Bibi's lawyer, at the beginning of this scandal, told him to resign and get out of politics. But I think that he's worried more details will come out.
Hey, has PBD posted anything recently?
Let's look. Probably given.
I was cooking him and Adam real bad the other day.
Okay, boots on the grass 4 days ago.
You know what's funny is, I don't know if you've noticed, there's been a small shift with Patrick Bet-David in his position. You know, he's kind of realizing boots on the ground is not popular.
Bro, they've lost quite a bit of viewership, man. Yeah. I think people, because I was in their chat, I was surprised. They had like 20,000 watching or some shit. I was like, bro, I remember when this shit used to be like fucking, you know, I remember when they used to go, when they used to literally have like 50K, 60K, 100K people watching live. And they've just been like down to like 20 or 30K. And everyone says it's because they show for Israel too much and they're pro-war.
Yeah, the masses have woken up. And another thing too, this war is definitely mainstream, but I don't know if it's like as mainstream as like the Iraq war once was, just because of the fact that there haven't been troops deployed.
You guys can go ahead and we're in here, baby. We're in here.
Oh, nice. It's up. Oh, is that the premiere?
That's the premiere. It's gonna come out at 12. So I'll drop the link for you guys here.
Yeah,
so you ninjas can go ahead and set this on your calendars. And I got the promo for it right here. I actually pinned it on my X. Let me see if I could do it.
Uncensored America. Uncensored America X Myron gains to the moon.
Yeah, so that's the trailer. It comes out. Bro, these dudes were so pissed off. See? Yo, niggas cry so much, bro. It's actually fucking comedy, man.
Yo, did that kid like try to attack you? He came all up in your shit.
Brett pushed them away. But yeah, it's funny shit. I mean, if they did anything, bro, like these are like little soy boy ass things.
Yeah, these are young college kids.
Fucking pussies. Okay, let me see here. But yeah, guys, it's coming. So tomorrow drops at 12. So make sure you ninjas go
drop
check
it
it
in
out.
the chat, guys. And quickly, while we have all of you here, because I'll probably scoot out of here in a moment. Unfortunately, we have to get up to serve the master and earn my shekels tomorrow. But here, take a look, guys.
And guys, don't worry. After you guys come on over or whatever, I'll stay on a little bit longer on all the platforms for you ninjas. And we'll keep cooking. And then I might cut to OSS and do Forensic Files, watch an episode there for the true crime guys. But yeah, go ahead. You have your page here? I got a full.
Yeah,
I got
this
it
is just my clips page, so go check this out. If you guys don't have time to watch the streams in full, which I know they're long and sometimes they're later at night, you can get a nice little segment here in terms of clips and a lot of my talking points. Me and Myron are on here. We've been careful with Myron for obvious reasons. Meta's not the biggest fan of him, but yeah, go check it out. The page has been growing a lot, and obviously the YouTube as well. But we've already showed you guys that. But no, that's really it, man. That's really it. Let me drop your chat, or sorry, your stream down below.
Also, guys, do me a favor, bro. I just realized these bitch ass niggas, man. People are trying to really hate on my book. Guys, Why Women Deserve Less. Make sure to get a copy of it and then leave a review. Look, I already got a bunch of haters in here leaving bad reviews. Right? Let me look here.
I can't. There's a show.
A landmark work in the field of advocating soul king. Yeah, bro. The niggas are haters, man. Niggas are true haters. If I can write. Oh, MG. Let's go. 5 stars, niggas. That's all you guys got to do.
You have to buy the book to write a review, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Get a couple of nigga copies, nigga, and then leave me a review.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, get the book. It's out right now. Okay, I got it in hardcover. Literally.
Guys, I just dropped Myron's kick chat or his kick stream in the chat. I just pinned it. So go over there. He'll finish up over there. I know you guys enjoy the YouTube UI, but jump over to Kick. Kick is good, man. Kick is getting better. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kick is good UI, bro. And there's no ads. But yeah, guys, get the book. I also got it in hardcover. Chris's dumbass got this shit taken off the paperback, guys. I don't know what the fuck this guy did, but Chris got it taken, the paperback taken off, which really fucking pisses me off. Nigga fucked up. I don't know what the hell he did, but yeah, the paperback isn't there because I don't know. So we got it on Kindle and hardcover right now, right? Make sure to leave a on the Kindle, got 4.6. Hardcover, it got a 4.6 because niggas are hating.
How did he fuck that up?
I don't know what the fuck he did, bro. He did the background on it, or he did the thing on it, and it just like completely, yeah, it's retarded, dude.
Yeah,
it's retarded. But yeah, make sure to leave a review, guys. That really helps. Just leave a 5-star review because I already got some haters fucking mad and shit like that about this shit. So get the book, leave a review. It helps a lot. And yeah,
can't stop the truth, baby. Can't stop. All right, I'll hop off, guys. I pinned his stream in the chat. Go over there. I'm gonna end my YouTube stream right now, so he'll go on for like another hour or so, or maybe even longer. And I don't know, you're gonna do true criming, right? True crime.
Yeah, I'll react to one of the PBD things here, and then I'll stay on a little bit, and then I'll probably do I'll finish off on OSS later on. I'm going to stay on for regular streaming stuff, though, for a bit.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right, guys, head over to kick.com. What's up?
No, I said I'm going to turn off my Rumble and everything else. I'm going to go only Kick.
Kick only, guys, and get used to that to watch Myron. Somebody just said Myron's going to finish us off on Kick. Pause. But yeah, jump over there, show some love. Kick only, guys. Jump over to Kick to watch Myron. Don't even bother watching him on YouTube. Just jump over to Kick and hop out of this Discord call. All right, guys. All right, bro. Peace.
All right, man. I'll see you, dude.
Peace out. All right, guys. Like I said, jump over. Good stream. A little bit lighter news, but, you know, this is all kind of setting up a bigger narrative that'll probably surface in the next few days, that being the boots on ground invasion. So that's all we've got, or that's all I've really got. Jump over, like I said, to check out Myron. Follow me on Instagram, Ryad Pilled. My actual Instagram is linked in the bio, I think. And then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on post notifications and like the video. You got to have notifications on because I know I say I'm going live Thursdays and Saturdays, but sometimes I don't. I just go live on like a Tuesday or Wednesday because the news is that pressing. So you got to turn on those notifications to be on your toes because sometimes you'll miss a stream. And the streams be good, man. The streams are fun. We be cooking. So chat. Love you guys. Appreciate the love. And until next time, Myron's stream is pinned in the chat. So don't say you can't find it. Peace.